Go, Megan.
Hi there. Welcome to the beautiful Red Rocks Convention Center here in Las Vegas. My wish for you today, although I can't really control this, is that you are enjoying as beautiful weather as we are today, wherever it is that you're at. What I can guarantee is that we're going to get you moving and feeling great first thing this morning so that you can power through the rest of these sessions. It's been so great to be back together and to be with some of you virtually. So please do what feels good for you today. We've got a 30-minute workout. At any time, you can bail and get into child's pose, get that forehead down to the ground, open up your knees, stretch it out, catch your breath, and then jump back in when you're ready. We're meeting you where you're at. You ready to go? All right. I'm going to switch the music here, turn it up a little louder, and we'll get moving. Got a little bit of everything today. A little cardio, a little strength, a little bit of yoga. Go ahead and start on the ground, seated, nice easy seat. Cross your legs. Big inhale. And exhale. One more big inhale. And exhale through your nose. Shoulder rolls back. And forward. Back to center. Make sure those shoulder blades are pushed down your back. Chest open and proud. Let's go ahead with a little neck roll. Back to center, reverse other side, other direction. Beautiful. Legs come out front. Let's go ahead, slowly roll down. Pull one knee into your chest, arms come up, and switch. Opening up your lower back. One more each side. We're going to take our right leg and kick it up nice and high. Tee out those arms. Right. Push through that heel, flex your foot. Squeeze that quad. It's an intentional, strong kick. And here, point your toe, same motion. 3 more. And then we're gonna switch sides. Point your toe, left leg, come on up. Here, flex your foot, push through your heel. Next up, right leg comes up and reach left, back to center, switch. Left leg up, reach over to the right, center. One more each side. Right here. Slowly roll up. Find your way up to your feet. Right foot grabs right ankle. Opposite arm comes up and switch. Snap those knees together as best you can. Last one right here. Squat, come on up. Beautiful. Squeeze your booty at the top. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Please push through those heels. 4, 3, 2, big inhale up. Exhale, roll down. Walk out into your plank. Right foot comes to right palm and switch. Right to right, left to left. One more each side. We're warmed up. We ready to go? Okay, here's the plan. Whole bunch of planks here. You can take those from your toes or from your knees, whichever feels good for you, okay? We start right here, straight arm plank, shoulders over wrists. Just hold it and breathe. Gaze is a couple feet in front of you. We're gonna go down to our forearm and push up right here. Forearm, forearm, palm, palm. Forearm, forearm, palm, palm. Yeah. Back up. Right hand is leading. Four, three, two, child's pose. Knees out, arms down, forehead to the ground. Take it out. We go again. Come down to a low plank on your forearms, or on your knees, or on your toes. We're suited. The dealer's not. Hold it. You stay there. You stay there. I want you to think about elongating from forehead to tailbone. Yeah? Head is up. Gaze is forward. Yeah? Just hold it. Pull kneecaps up. You know what I'm thinking about? That I'm in Vegas and I want to win big. Push up to your palms. Left hand leads. You got to hold this a little longer. Almost there. 4, 3, 2. Now up, up, down, down. Yes. Keep those hips down. 15 more seconds here. Four, 3, 2, child's pose. Woo! Awesome. How are we feeling? Ready? Let's find a down dog. And here, we drop those elbows. Dolphin push-ups. Four, 3, 2. Plank. Push back. Push back. Yes! Four, 3, 2. Last one. Plank. Let it go. Take it out. Woo! How we doing? Let's go low plank. Low plank. Hold it, and we go. Side, center, side. Yes. Whoa. 4, 3, 2, let it go. Breathe. Nice job. Take it out. Catch your breath. You feel it? I feel it. Ready? Find that down dog. Drop those elbows down. Next up, we go to plank and we switch to down dog. 4, 3, 2, plank. Push back. Push back. You heard the nice lady, didn't you? Let's smile. Smile through it. Last one. Release. Beautiful job. Come on up. Come on up. Now we're going to get moving. Right foot forward, left foot back, arms raised. Pull that knee in. Pull. Knee to chest. You keep going. The foot that's planted, your knee stays behind your toes. Wiggle those toes. Drive through the heel. We're gonna switch into some great big steers. Both legs are gonna get moving. For now, stay here. 4, 3, 2, let's see. Up. Yay! Oh. It's full. Run. Come on. 15 seconds. Left leg comes forward. Arms up. Knee to chest. 4, 3, 2. Stay with it. Maybe you make it wider. Tears coming. Big burst. 4, 3, 2. It's a restart. It's a refresh. Come on. What kind of energy do you want to bring to this new year? Go! Come on! Four, 3, 2. Awesome. Now, we're not done with that split. Right leg forward, left leg back. Ankle stack. Wide stance. Pushing through that heel. Down, up. Here we go. Down, up. Get down as low as you can. Down and up. We're going to switch it. Slow it down. 2 counts down. 2 counts up. Here. 1, 2. Up, 2. Yes. Four, 3, 2. Stay, hold. Hold. Shoulders over hips. And you sink a little lower. Low. Tiny pulse. Oh! Yes! Stay there. Stay there. 4, 3, 2. Shake it out. Oh! Nice job. Side. Last leg up. Down and up. Or 3, 2. Down. Down. You're a little wobbly on this side. That's normal. Okay? 4, 3, 2. Slow it down. 2, 2. 2 down. 2 up. Down, 2 up, 2 down, 2 up, down, hold it, hold it, hold it, shoulders over hips, square hips, weight in your heel, wiggle those toes, pull up your back ankle, get lower, and pull. 8, 4, 3, 2. Shake it out, grab a sip. Awesome job. Next up, a little lateral movement, because we always spend so much time in this frontal plane. Right and left. It's a right lunge and left. It doesn't really matter which side you go.
Until your physical self becomes the instrument that renews the spiritual. Call me and answer my altar call. If you show
2 more each side.
and if you
We're gonna switch
show out,
to a crossover lunge. Look like this. Back, up. Stay on one side. Sit down like you're sitting in a seat. 4, 3, 2, right and left, right. Four, 2, last one, opposite leg, goes back, got it? 4, 3, 2, last one. Beautiful. Now on this next one, we're gonna do quick feet just like that. On my call, when I yell burpee, that's what you're gonna do. So 3 ways to do a burpee. You reach down, hands on the ground, step out, step back in, stand up. Other option, hands to the ground, jump out, jump in. Third option, touch the ground, all the way down, jump, burst up. Got it? Quick feet. Come on. Now I can't see you, but you can see me. So this is on the honor system, right? Yeah? We're collaborating, we're working together. When I say burpee, you go. Burpee, go! Back up, come on. Burpee! Burpee! Come on. Down and up real quick. 4, 3, 2, burpee! Quick feet. 4, 3, 2, burpee. Do it again. Ready, set. Burpee right here. Burpee. Heart rate up, yeah? Keep going. Burpee. And again. And again. Burpee. Burpee. One more. Catch your breath. Woo! Awesome. To the ground. Back on the ground. Flat feet, knees bent. Arms over chest. Dig into your heels. Curl with your lower abdominal region up. Arms crossed. We'll sit up. We slow this down just a little bit. Last one down. Last one up. Come halfway down. Hands in prayer position. Elbows wide. You're going to reach those elbows. Right and left. Nice and slow. 2 down, 2 up, 2 up, 2 down, 2 up. Live music, who's ready? We're getting there. Now double time it, here. Big twist. Try to get that elbow all the way. Spine is straight. 3, 2, 1. Hold it. Slowly roll back. Beautiful. Right leg comes over left. Right arm comes over left. And we crunch and tap. Crunch, tap. 4, 3, 2, last one. Toe flat, arms to the side, reach, tap your heels. 4, 3, 2, reach. Head and shoulders off the ground. Tap, 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 tap. Then you go faster. Boom, 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 boom. Neck stays long. 4, 3, 2, let it go. Left over right, left over right. Crunch, tap. Crunch. Four, 3, 2, come on all the way up. Come on all halfway down. Halfway down. Hold it. Hold it. Hold it. Roll down. Applause. Yes. How are you feeling? You know what I love about the event industry? I love the Search Foundation. I love that you know that when something unexpected happens, you have a safety net. You have a whole industry of people that will support you and get you through. We're with you. We're meeting you today where you're at. And we will also be there every step of the way. Grab a sip. We got one more burner and we're out. I miss live concerts to you, so I'm going to pretend like I'm at one. Jump rope. Option here is to just touch. This works too. Wherever you're at, pick one. How about one arm up? One arm up. Both arms go. Make it bigger and better. Oh! Come on! Come on! 15 seconds. That's the best I can do dancing. When my song comes on, that's what I do at a concert. But I'd encourage you to do what you do at a concert. Ready? Let's jump rope. Nobody jumps rope at a concert. But a little hopping maybe, yeah? One arm punches up. Ready? 2 arms. Hit it. Oh! Come on, whatever feels good for you. Let's do it! Come on. 15 seconds. Go bigger, go! Come on. In the interest of banding together, through good times and bad and everything in between. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Megan Wenstrup. I am the founder of the Fit Give movement, and we coordinate events to benefit great causes. And I would love to meet each and every one of you and give you a high five and a hug. We're getting there, yeah? Let's go ahead and cool down. Big inhale up. Exhale, roll down. Just hang there 1 second. A couple breaths. Big inhale, flat back. Exhale, walk out into a plank. Shoulders over wrists. Right leg comes forward, steps in between palms. Low lunge. Opposite hand plants inside the sole of your foot, next to the sole of your foot. To reach up, open. Exhale, come on down. Step back, down dog. Back is straight, gaze is a couple inches forward. Back to your plank. Left foot steps in, low lunge. Plant opposite hand inside the sole of your foot. Open, twist. Exhale, come to center. Step back, slowly lower. Hand goes to forehead. Palm. Forehead goes to palm. Reach right hand back for your right ankle. Exhale, release, and switch. Exhale, roll over. Close your eyes. Palms up. Breathe. Say hello to a brand new day. You stay there. And the sun is shining, shining. We've come together over the last few days to celebrate the restart of our business. This rest right here, this transition from work into the regular part of your day, this is what we could consider your battery backup. Yeah? Let all those files process. Let your body take it in. And we move forward with renewed spirit, energy, strength, and commitment. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a wonderful day. You can follow me on Instagram at Fit Give Movement. It's been such an honor and pleasure. Have a wonderful day.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to BizBash at Connect. We are in fabulous Las Vegas at the Red Rock Casino Resort and Spa, one of my absolute favorite spots to be. Thank you so much for tuning in, for attending over these last couple of days. We have had a great time interacting with you, whether you're in person or online. Keep the comments, keep the questions coming. We actually have a really special surprise for you based on some of the feedback that we received over the last couple of days, especially from one of the sessions yesterday. There was a ton of questions on supply chain and what that looks like. So in just a moment, we have a special guest joining us to talk about that a little bit more and answer some of those questions. You know, don't stop with that chat. If there's more that we can answer today, you've got us for a few more hours. We would love to keep that going. We have some really exciting panels and discussions coming up. I can't wait. Later this morning, we are going to have our very own Ashton Pike. She is going to do 40 pieces of inspiration in 40 minutes. I just can't wait. I'm going to be sitting front row for that. I promise you, it'll be such a great inspirational session that she's doing. But it has been an incredible couple of days. Thank you to Akiri Productions, to Quiet Events for making this all happen. Everyone that came out here in person and joined us. It has been great to get back together, to really reconnect. And now we're reimagining what all of this looks like. And we'll all be together in Tampa, August 30th through September 1st. But I would love to welcome two of my dear friends. I'm so excited that they could join us from one of the coolest venues, you guys. This is my spot that I go to in Vegas. They have a huge upcoming event in a couple of weeks, but they have taken time out to chat with us about the supply chain. We have Eric Vaughn, who is the director of culinary for all of Las Vegas banquets and meetings, and someone you've gotten to know well over the last few days, Michelle Polsey, director of citywide catering sales for Caesars Entertainment Las Vegas, overseeing all of those properties. Two amazing people. They are joining us from the Forum in Las Vegas, has the world's largest pillar-free ballrooms. Michelle, correct me if I'm wrong, 110,000 square feet?
Yes, ma'am.
They are gorgeous. I just toured these ballrooms very recently. I love the decor, the way that they've gone through the seasons in there. If you have not yet been to the Forum, go book an event there or attend one if you see it upcoming. They have knocked it out of the park. But you guys, we wanted to talk a little bit. Michelle, tell me a little bit about the Forum before we jump into supply chain.
Yeah, so the Forum was officially supposed to open March 18th of this year. And, you know, with everything going on in our history, we've had a couple of groups that have actualized, but our really big coming out party and grand opening will happen in a couple weeks on June 15th. So we're really excited. But this is, you know, years in the making. It sits at the base of the high roller. So when you're at Red Rock and you see that beautiful wheel, that's kind of where we are. It has two pillarless ballrooms at 110,000 square feet. 240,000 square feet junior ballrooms, if there is such a thing, and it kind of seems weird to say it's junior ballroom, and then about 100,000 square feet outside. So we finally built a building that had some viable outside space to take advantage of everything Las Vegas has to offer when it's not so hot.
Yes,
I feel like Caesars
has so much to offer. You guys have knocked it out of the park across the strip. But Eric, thank you for joining us. We wanted to talk a little bit. We got some questions yesterday when we were discussing supply chain, and who better to discuss that? I mean, you are in charge of all of that. Can you maybe give us a little idea of really what the supply chain looks like, and then maybe some updates on it?
Yeah, absolutely. The supply chain, this is a vast conversation. It could last way longer than the time we have. But essentially, in the beginning of the pandemic, what we saw was that we closed all these restaurants in the company, and then all of a sudden there was all of this food that was packaged for restaurants, and a lot of that went bad. And that really was the difficult part, because we had people that were going out and they were eating on a daily basis stop that and go to the grocery store. And that was when we started to see some of the panic in the grocery store, and the limiting of, one package of chicken or beef per customer type thing. And then what happened after that is we saw a very fast pivot. So the farmers and the distributors were scrambling to repackage this stuff for retail that was normally going to market in the restaurants or convention centers like we have here. And that slowly changed to be a better thing for the retail client in the grocery store, and kept prices from being skyrocketed to the highest point. They did go up. I recall seeing several dollars a pound higher for proteins overall in the grocery store. When we started to come back to business lightly, that was very interesting. In the very beginning for us, we started to have some tiny little functions for several months, starting I think back in July. And even for functions that small, the lead time for product was drastic compared to what it used to be. All of the vendors that we were dealing with were really sort of concerned about whether they would sell the product they were putting on their shelves. So they weren't carrying a lot. And the same for the vendors, distributors, they were afraid to carry product. So in some cases, if we needed something special, we were waiting weeks and weeks to get that stuff. We've seen price increases sort of overall of about 7% across the market. And, you know, for restaurants, especially the small ones out there, that's a huge hit for them. You know, there's small profit margins. These places, you know, sometimes operate on 10% profit. That's very, very difficult. Some of the other things we saw happen in that segment was a lot for chefs. They buy a lot of specialty stuff, a lot of tiny greens, a lot of tiny vegetables and things like that that would never have a place in the grocery store. Those growers stop producing those products and they're just not available to get at all. We're slowly seeing a shift of a few things coming back. Some of the growers that sort of grow on demand when you place an order and you know, it comes to you FedEx, that has started to return. But we're still seeing shortages in every segment, and there's no real know if we're going to get that product sometime. So for us here, even with our upcoming function in the middle of June, we're already speaking to our vendors about this product that we're going to need and the amounts that we need it in. And in some cases, there's been a couple things we had to change the menu on where we couldn't get product that we wanted. Mm-hmm. It's a very, very difficult thing right now for everybody in this business to find that product. I think that we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg because for us here, like many others, we haven't really done large functions yet. That June function is really the largest one we're going to see, and we're going to start to see after that we're having many of those. And what is going to happen in the food supply chain when that happens all around the country at all businesses, I think is something that's going to be very interesting. So some of the pricing and shortages may not be as bad as they're going to be. Mm-hmm. So I think that everybody needs to prepare to have some flexibility. Even as far as like the FDA loosened some of their restrictions as these companies needed to pivot to sell their produce or sell their proteins in a different manner, and they didn't have time to maybe get a nutritional evaluation for packaging. Those things were loosened. Things like packaged eggs that there were not cartons to put them in. They loosened some of those restrictions to get that product to people's tables, and I think that's a great thing. But it still hasn't solved some of the shortage issues that we're seeing across the board.
So between the two of you, Michelle, I mean, you sell the dream, and Chef, you basically live the nightmare. So do you have any suggestions for anybody as they're looking ahead? Would you tell them to maybe wait on choosing those menus, or is it better to secure sooner so you can have more lead time to get the product? What does that kind of look like? I know we're all kind of building this plane as we fly, but what advice do you have?
I think that the most important thing is to do as much planning ahead as you can and to have that constant communication with your clients so that they understand that, we're trying to get the best product for you. We're trying to get what's on the menu for you. We could wait 3-4 weeks and the vendors could be telling us yes, and then the next thing you know, it doesn't happen. Mm-hmm. So really getting that flexibility with your clients is probably more important than any part. And then the planning ahead piece where you're contacting your vendors and you're letting them know that this is what I'm going to need this far out, and let them tell you no so you can get with your client ahead of time and let them know that, hey, I can't provide that item for you.
That's a great piece of the selling tool. We spoke about that yesterday, making sure that you were transparent and that you had great communication. And I think that really will be key for all of us in all segments of what we do to make sure that we can have those conversations with our clients and best take care of them so they're aware. So thank you for helping to make everyone that's joining us aware of this today. I have a feeling we're going to continue this conversation. You guys watching online, we will probably see more of them. Eric, thank you so much for joining today. Michelle, thank you. I know I'll see you back here on site shortly. The amazing forum, Caesars. Look it up. If you have not yet been to that building, you need to go check that out. They are fantastic, on point, have one of the most amazing culinary programs across the country at any of their properties that they go to. So thank you both for joining me today. I very much appreciate it.
Thank you. And let's thank BizBash Connect, because for two decades, we've gone to conferences, right? And we've all had questions after. And to be able to stop mid-conference and say, let's address this right now for people, this is the first time I've ever been involved in anything or seen anything like this. So I have to call in, the big dogs to say, come help us out. So thanks for having that great intuitiveness to take another direction. That's a really cool aspect of our conference industry right now.
Teamwork, baby, all collaborating. We're going to make the dream work. So thank you both for being here. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good day, guys. So back on site here, we're going to start kicking off some education. I'm so appreciative of our friends. We're talking about true collaboration here. You see that, the fact that they went and opened up the doors of the Caesars Forum and got Eric out there to kind of address some of the questions that all of you had. So we appreciate that. Keep the conversation going for us. I want to take a moment, invite someone to join me who has been a big part of this. You have seen her many times already. She was doing some fitness for us this morning, and I want her to come in and just kind of tell us a little bit about what she does, because it's interesting, the movement. This is Megan with Fit Give Movement. You have been leading the way, keeping us all healthy. I even kicked off my heels and made sure I did some stretches, taking care of me. Tell us a little bit about Fit Give Movement.
Thank you so much for having me here. So I have been in the fitness industry for about 7 years, and my real passion is when we fuse fitness with fundraising. I just don't think there's anything more powerful than getting a group of people moving together for a cause that's greater than themselves. And I just love it, and these events that we plan become very meaningful, memorable events, and do a little good at the same time. So we're kind of killing two birds with one stone.
I love that. And you're based out of?
Chicago.
Oh, you have the best food scene. You need to stay fit living there because the food is so good.
That's right. That's right. Yes.
So perfect. Can you tell us some people maybe you've partnered with, or some of the programs that you do help to run? I mean, you obviously came and did all of ours to be here in person and virtual for everyone, but what does that sort of look like?
Yeah, so we've done virtual events, which are awesome because, as you've been talking about all this time, you can sort of break down the barriers of time and location. So we did it was a regional event for an organization called Kids Save. They are headquartered out of California, and we did it for the Midwest region. So we had folks from Minnesota and Illinois, and on this Zoom virtual event. That was a family fitness event, which is great because families, I have teenagers. It's kind of hard to find things that we can all do together and enjoy. So the family fitness events are great. I've got a couple events coming up that are local to our community, and then another national organization called the Danny Did Foundation, which is they support families who are living with a diagnosis of epilepsy. It's a mouthful. So those are going to be, outdoor, in-person events. As we roll into the fall, I'm hoping we can go back indoors and do things in cool spaces like this, or I don't know, we'll just see where it goes.
Yeah, we're all seeing where it goes. I love that we have built fitness into this, taking care of ourselves, the health and wellness portion. BizBash with Connect has been so forward thinking and just making sure that we really are addressing every single piece of the puzzle that we need to for it. So having you here, we very much appreciate that. I think it got us up all out of our seats. You guys, I even saw, I was watching her yesterday when she was leading one of the fitness ones, and two of the techs in the back of the room stood up and were exercising along, and it was like, yes, this is exactly what we need to do. We need to be taking care of ourselves. We are the worst at it. We tell people to, but our entire industry, we don't know how to say no. We need to learn how. We need to better take care of ourselves. Like I mentioned yesterday, you can't pour from an empty cup. Right. You need to be the best possible version of yourself. You have to take care of yourself first. We need to keep continuing to work work, the health and wellness and all of that into these events to continue to keep them very intentional as we plan. We have exciting events upcoming for you in person. Don't forget to mark your calendars for Tampa, August 30th through September 1st. You guys, they did just put out a special rate. It is only good through June 1st, like the next few days, that event professionals and event planners can attend for only $249. The whole experience. They're trying to meet you where you are and make sure that they're budget conscious for this coming year to help truly bring the industry back together. So when you're done watching this next session, hop on. But we have a very exciting session upcoming, NOMO FOMO. I am all over this one. It's going to be followed by the DMC panel, and then we will be doing 40 and 40. I am so looking forward to that. So we are going to turn this one over to my friends on stage for NOMO FOMO. Take it away, Mr. David Adler.
Thank you, Kate Pate with Pate Consulting, for being such an amazing host for the last couple of days. I think that's transformed how we do events here at BizBash, and I'm so excited to have been experimenting with this so I don't have to experiment. You don't have to experiment on your own. You can see what we're doing. I want to welcome to the stage Erica Lomar and Corey Travelina. Erica is from Akari Productions, and I just learned that you came up with the name because she took Erica and spelled it backwards.
Yes, I did.
Yes. And then Corey Travelina from Redtail also gave us a tale of his naming convention.
There is a story.
And that is so interesting to hear how everybody creates their own thing.
Yeah.
Erica has been our event producer, and it's been fantastic. And I wish I could give you like stand up ovation and all that kind of stuff. And everyone here should stand up at their desk. And you know, don't clean your desk. Just stand up and thank Erica. Because you know, when I'm sitting home, sometimes I'm paying attention with one eye. I'm doing some work with the other eye. Yeah. So you've learned. And one thing about Erica, she can actually have a conversation, do her work, and have 3 conversations going on at the same time, and actually understand what's going on. And that is the sign of a fantastic producer.
Oh, thank you.
I wanted to talk about, we titled this NOMO FOMO, and it's your title.
It is.
And I want you to explain to everyone why we're doing that title, and why, and it sort of in a nutshell says how the world has changed in the last year.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, when we were talking about what's happening, we're in a new era, right? The day one.
We're the beginning of the new events industry.
New events industry. And we have an opportunity to not do it the same way. So instead of that fear of missing out, now we don't have to have that because we can connect. We can do what we've been doing over the last several days and showing you what's happening on site and being able to respond to things in real time and maybe even outside of what we originally planned. So we don't have to have this fear of missing out anymore because we can be engaged wherever we're at, whenever we want to be, and whenever we have time to be. You know, you can be at home and like you just said, you might be listening with one ear, you may be watching, but now if we need to, you can come back to it. And so want to talk, of course, more about this on-demand content and how that's going to be happening, but it's a complete shift, mind shift for us. Would you agree?
What do you think?
I think that there's way more opportunity now for people to be engaged. I feel like the way we've been doing events in the past, it lacked that engagement, right? It's like everybody showed up, they sat in the seats, we put on a great show, but no one was ever really acknowledged. Where now someone can log in the comfort of their own home, like people right now on YouTube that are watching, you can comment. Say, hey, David, how's it going? Have people respond. Oh my gosh, you know, it's kind of like that whole Peloton idea, right? Like you're on your bike and you're making it happen, and they call you out.
Yeah.
They call your name.
Get up.
And you're all,
faster.
Yeah, and then you get super motivated.
Yeah, Corey, how come you're not doing it right? I can see you.
That's right. And so I feel like the opportunity, the floodgates have just opened. The way we do events has changed, and I don't think it's going to go back to the way that it was. I mean, clients have to think now, do we spend $50,000 on an opening video that has pyrotechnics? Or do we make a 2-minute video, take that money, and put it virtually? Right now, they're going to say, we need to invest that money virtually. We need to do a hybrid event because people, let's just be honest, they like watching it from the comfort of their own home.
But even when you're in the room,
yeah.
Hasn't the attention span changed entirely? Yesterday we had the guys from TikTok.
Yeah.
And I think that is a sea change. for people in terms of how they pay attention and what they learn, and snack learning and things like that. That's changing everything, which we have to translate on stage, right? As a producer, what do you?
Oh my gosh.
What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, part of that it goes back to our learning styles. And I think our learning styles have shifted, right? Because you may be audible, you may be, visual, et cetera, but it's shifted. And, we were talking about even the next generation. Their attention span, we have like 10, 20 seconds maybe to grab their attention. So now we have to start strategizing how we're keeping the attention and keeping the engagement. And, engagement, it can be a subjective term because, what works for engagement for you or for you is different than for me, right? Like some people, like we've noticed, even, being on site, maybe even just listening and still doing something on their phone, which is still fine. They're still either engaging with people virtually, they may be multitasking, but they're still learning because they're an audible learner. Others can be able to just put it away and et cetera. So I think with this new era, again, just how we're learning has changed. We're kind of multi-learners at this point.
Yeah. So it's not only nomo FOMO, it's nomo FOMO judgment.
True.
So you can't judge people.
No. I mean, that's been like the silver lining of this whole thing. Like we have become so much more accepting of everything in life. Like your kids running through, your dog on Zoom,
but
et cetera.
So I believe that the whole business is about how do you scale intimacy.
Yes.
And one of the things, like I could have said, okay, Erica, do your PowerPoint presentation and have 15 things. We don't learn like that. That makes us glaze over and want to kill ourselves. And we just hand out razor blades to see a PowerPoint.
Well, but some people need that.
Though, Eric, live though, I feel like that's what happens live, right? If you're in person.
Yeah.
But one of the benefits of incorporating this hybrid event is even the executives are loving it more because people don't want to sit and watch a 45-minute to an hour presentation from a CEO. The CEO is like, man, I can narrow this down to 15 minutes. I can do multiple takes and we can drop in slides later.
Right.
And it looks live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so it's just...
And you can go get it and retrieve it anytime you need it. But you're not, I don't think you're going to go, I don't think that we're going to say, okay, it's on-demand content, but you have to do something more with the on-demand content to make it more retrievable. Because no one is going to sit and listen to a 45-minute keynote when they're home just because.
That's right.
Yeah, our event flow has changed a ton.
Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I think, it's been, Corey and I work very closely together, and just a little bit more.
Corey does all the graphics.
He does all the graphics and
video,
the design and a lot of our storyboarding and et cetera. And so when we're designing these events, our flow is just different. It's like, to Corey's point earlier, of what are we going to do for the opening? We need to now capture something in a smaller bit, than we would maybe in the past. What happens live versus what happens virtually. We have had to mind shift that we are basically now television producers. That there's a lot of things that we have learned from what they have done. For instance, if we take, NFL or sports for an example, right? Your experience watching it in the comfort of your home, you still are going to have your snacks and you maybe have people over and you're still gathering and et cetera. And that content that you're seeing on the screen, is one experience. Then you have what you're doing in person at the game. You paid for the ticket to go, and that is another experience. And then you get to see that crossover that happens as well, right? And so from a content standpoint, our storyboarding has become so much more of an intricate process. We have to decide what's pre-recorded, what happens live, and that human element that we were just talking about of creating those more impactful moments than the longer stretch. So it's been an interesting process through the last year specifically of helping our clients mind shift. Because again, really, this isn't completely something new for us. Broadcast has been something we've been doing for at least 10 plus years, but it's the difference of that it's on demand, it's more accessible than it has been before.
Do you think if we do a little self-criticism, this session's about 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Are we now at the end of a session time? Is 30 minutes actually too long now? Depending on what it is, of course. But I mean, are we sort of more thinking in snacks in terms of 15 and 10 seconds?
I think it can be.
Yeah?
I think it can be.
Yeah, I think it also depends on the topic, right? Going back to like, this is a open dialogue conversation, right? And I think when we're getting on stage and we're doing the PowerPoint, that more, we need to stick more to like, as we call it, the TED style, right? Keep it in that short and brief.
So this is also one of the things as a content producer, we're doing a live performance, we're doing an on-demand performance, we're doing a webinar. I'm turning this into our Gather Geeks podcast. We're going to turn it into little snack information as well. So we're taking the same content. This is basically a content farm that we're creating right now. And that everybody is going to have to remine their content in a different way than they're doing what they used to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you as a producer, you're now thinking not only for the live event, but you're thinking about producing 10 events in one.
Right. Yeah. The mind of the shift has been to our audiences. Our audiences are different, and we want to meet, again, I know it's been a theme we've been saying for the last couple of days, but we want to meet people where they're at. And that means whether, again, in person or home, or office, etc., but also those learning styles. So, from a content standpoint, like that's been a big mind shift for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
And in terms of graphics and things like that, how have our receptivity of the graphics changed? Like, when you put a picture up there, what are you thinking about now? Is it just a snap sort of thing to get into your brain subconsciously, or sometimes people just put things in back of you and they don't even explain what's going on?
Yeah.
Like how is the graphics style?
Well, okay, so we have to consider now more than ever. We've always considered what goes on behind the speaker. Now we have to consider it even more because it's going to translate now on a smaller screen. Right? And so is the background moving too much? Is there a piece of a letter that's sticking out of the person's head that we normally wouldn't see? Like live, it's not a problem, right? And before you would just set up a camera in the back, we'd record it and go, yeah, let's just edit something later. It's like, well,
you can't do that.
We have multiple cameras now. How does it look from that angle? How does it look from that angle? How is this going to translate, right, into lower thirds?
Right.
Yeah, you just have to consider all of these things, and it's such a shift, right? Because before we were just focusing on the live aspect of things.
Right.
How is this going to look on a 100-foot screen?
Right.
How is this going to look on a 14-inch screen?
Right.
You know what I mean?
So a totally different thing. So simplicity.
A lot.
I mean, how do you do you have to edit down and have clients say too much on the screen? Too much? Is there a new style?
Yes. I'm finding we're editing down the length of things that are happening now. It's once we get the style and the theme and it all looks good, we're editing more of the speeches. Again, an executive coming up and speaking for 45 minutes, nobody wants to see that anymore.
God.
So we make it 15, right? Now we may shoot them and it may take 45 minutes.
Right.
Well, then we upload that to the client and they're like, we're going to remove this, we're going to remove this, we're going to remove this. Now all of a sudden you have what would have been a 2.5-hour general session that's now an hour.
Right.
And it's just so much more absorbable. Like people can.
You know what I've also seen in terms of lighting has changed it too. How has lighting changed as a producer? And you don't have as many the backlights. I remember complaining probably to you that we've done this for so many years that you couldn't take good Instagram pictures because the backlighting made the Instagrams look bad. And so the lighting has shifted too, right? In terms
well, and in this last year, we've all learned how to be our own lighting director,
ring lights,
right? And our own audio director,
How do you get the shadows when you wear glasses? The ring light showing you. Like, what do you do?
Oh, it's all about the
angle.
We're all about the angle. So we have tons of resources on our website about that. But it's been the shift, right? In this last year, like we've had to also, we're recording from home. We haven't had the accessibility until recently, obviously with so many things opening, that we've been safely been able to go into studios and do stuff. So we've had to, really guide, improvise, and teach people the different style of lights and the different types of mics and etc. But that's been, I kind of like that. It's been kind of fun, to be honest, because I feel like other people are more concerned about what they how they're presenting. I think, as a presenter, sometimes because this is what we do for a living, you're like, yeah, we get on stage and we do our thing and like, et cetera. And now I'm like, okay, I have to make sure we're in a quiet space and there's not things happening. And it's just so much more intentional,
right.
Which I'm just loving.
Yeah. But the sound also, audio is key. I mean, all these elements become much more important than they ever have.
Yes.
Yeah.
In terms of being a producer.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely.
But to Erica's point earlier, it's because we are now having the mindset that we're almost producing a TV show.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, you're producing a TV show, but also the thing that the audience likes is how do you break that fourth wall, because they want to be in with you producing, as opposed to just viewing. Yeah. How do you, as an event producer, how do you accommodate that new mindset?
Yeah, I really think we're taking and listening to feedback. I mean, we've been getting tons while we've been here, and, that there is no right or wrong at the moment, right? And so we're taking that and just saying, okay, great. So for this style of audience, we just need to make sure that we're addressing this the next time.
Right.
Again, goes back to the learning styles. Everybody's going to learn differently. We're going to absorb it differently. But for me, I think the biggest thing is it's made it completely accessible. Exactly. I mean, we've made such a push this last year for more diverse inclusion. Like we're doing captions, we're doing ASL, we're doing all of these different elements to it, and we've just created all of that to be accessible to our learners.
And also, you get it in real time. So you get the comments on the side, and so they're actually honest and they're saying, this program sucks.
Yeah, right.
And you have to have a heart attack while you're the
Well,
the
yeah,
producer.
that does, kind words are always lovely.
Kind word, yeah, we want kind words for the producer.
But honestly, though, constructive criticism, right?
Yeah.
Things happen. Like we've learned, if there's anything that we've learned in this last year, we have to give a lot of grace. Things need to be forgivable. We need to learn, it's just, how many times have we all watched the Super Bowl and you've given it the critique of like, this has happened. And like, at the same time I sit and I'm like, there are hundreds of people that got to work and do that. And we take that part for granted. We just see at home maybe what's going on and what happened. In the stadium, it can be completely different, right? And then all of a sudden we're quick to judge, but that's what we're trying to start to eliminate, right? We're trying to go, look, it's not always gonna be perfect. We all, absolutely, that is what we strive for every day. But like a lot of it in this last year, to the conversations that we had yesterday on stage, we are surviving and now we're thriving. And how do we get to that next level?
But as an event producer now, you are not only dealing with your technical aspects on your, as you're sitting in the back room with all the headsets. Yeah. You're dealing with how do you deal with it on Instagram? How do you deal with it on YouTube? How do you deal with it? How many different platforms are we using today?
5.
5 different platforms.
Yeah, 5.
Right?
So and it's we have to staff up. That's the difference. We've had to almost double our support team.
Yeah, if you see backstage how incredible that looks.
Amazing.
And then we have Kate at her area. We're doing, you always have to have the host for the virtual audience. It has changed. And do you think as an event producer, having the live host makes a big difference, right?
Yeah, I think it's been really great because again, we can address things that are happening in real time at the conferences. Like that hasn't been a way to do that before. Right. Being able to go live with Caesars this morning, like how awesome was that? Right. That was like, hey, we want to address this. It came up. Can we talk? We're like, yeah, absolutely. Let's make that happen. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I think it's a big mind shift. But it's just, again, allowing us not to miss out. Like, do we miss out on contact? Yeah. Do you miss out on networking? Possibly, but we're still even bridging that gap.
Oh yeah.
As all of these platforms that have come out in these last years and apps and et cetera. And that's been what's so great about technology and what we've come out of in this last year. We've had an opportunity to really approach it differently. And I'm going to go back to like our graphic stuff that we do, and because yes, we've also had to consider what's happening while we're sitting here and what's being projected out, but it's also doubled the amount of stuff we have to do.
Oh, yeah.
So our content lists are not just, hey, we're going to be able to do this in a week or 2 weeks. We have created much longer timelines, pre-workflows here to get where we need to be for all of it because, we've been doing, again, how many mediums are we out to today? you know, and they all take a different size.
Yep.
Maybe we could work on that, you know, not us, but somebody else smarter.
Well, you know,
We're throwing it out there.
The title of this thing was No Mo FOMO.
Yeah.
But but I think we're actually, I would sort of suggest that the FOMO is actually more, because you're in live, and I kind of had the FOMO of I wanted to watch it online, or I wanted to see what we had on Instagram, or I wanted to see what we had on TikTok in terms of our different things, and that you're living in so many different universes. So you get FOMO for each one.
Yeah, but
that's great.
It is, but that goes back to what we talked about earlier, which is this stuff is going to live forever.
Yeah.
While we're sitting here, it's being recorded.
Yes.
We can watch it later.
That's why I'm so glad that we didn't have Instagram and all that when I was young, because I don't want to see this in 30 years.
Yeah, right.
True, right? Well, you know, yeah, but I think, you know, yes, to your point, I think that you can have that, but what we're trying to eliminate is the fear of it. You know, we're trying to say, yeah, you might miss out.
Missing out.
You know,
yes.
yeah, you may miss out on the personal contact,
Yes.
you know, networking, but you're not missing out on the entertainment. You're not missing out on the speakers.
Right.
You're not missing out on the education. You know, and there's other ways to network now. I mean, this last year taught us that. We could still network from home, but there's still something about those embraces, and it's been overwhelming, you know, these last couple of days to just be able to hug people that are comfortable, fist bump, you know, be in person. It's been completely overwhelming and great, in a, you know, not overwhelming in a, but overwhelmingly great.
So, you know, it's interesting, you know, as part of our programming, the contact and content are two equal partners. But one of the things I've learned in doing my Gather Geeks podcast and interviewing a lot of incredible people is that one of the greatest things about live events is that they're a trust accelerator. Because once you come and meet someone in person, you can then have multiple virtual connections with them, but it works together. And that the people that are meeting people online, the first thing they want to do is, when are we going to get together? And I even saw this in the meetup world, when as soon as everybody gets on Meetup, the first thing they want to do is create a live event and gather. So it's so symbiotic that we're saying, is it hybrid or is it virtual? I think eventually people will connect in real life.
Absolutely. And I think, though, to that point, though, it's also given us an expansion of an audience.
Oh,
you know, and who we can connect with and how we connect with them. You know, I've met several this last year on LinkedIn and Instagram and et cetera in many different parts of the world. And Zoom has allowed us to have that networking conversations that I don't think we would have jumped at before.
No, right.
You know, we didn't. Yeah. We just were like, hey, we'll see you at the conference. You know, hope you can be there. But now
when you see them at
we
the
can
conference,
do that.
The goosebumps happen.
Yeah, oh,
it's
totally.
Like, oh my God, I never met this person, and we fell in love online.
Right.
You know? Like in love, collegially.
Yeah, well, you know.
That's so funny. I totally agree with you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you. I actually felt that way about Matt Johnson. Yeah, buddy. Yeah. We met online. I was so excited to meet him, and then in person.
That's the beauty of our industry that people do not realize. That it's all the chemical exchanges that happen in for real that don't happen online. Yeah. But in combination, the world is a much smaller place.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And so you have to produce that way, though, right?
I do, yeah.
When we're doing this, we want to project the fact that I can't wait till I meet Erica, ultimately, in terms of in life, or see what they have to do, or understand more about what they do. You know, really, like, you know, we talk about how we interact storytelling in the event production. Yeah. Talk a little bit about your strategy around storytelling in graphics and storytelling in the producing side.
Yeah.
Do you?
I just think when the storytelling, like the opportunity for us to tell stories doubles. Again, going back to the live space, you're only thinking about that. Now that we have a hybrid, we can add more content.
But what about storytelling? Like we had Christine Meditucci yesterday, and her presentation was so dramatic that her storytelling was really well thought out. And I think the one thing that we're not yet there is, how do you project that storytelling and get us to know how to do it better as individuals? I would assume that's the next frontier.
Yeah, I definitely think that's the next frontier. And I think, you know, we as producers and, you know, designers, like we really try to weave a theme through, right, and make sure that we are having those conversations, bullet points are being said, you know, but there is a whole new element of how we present even, you know, so I think that's where we're heading.
What have you seen that works the best now in this sort of experimental phase? What is, as a producer, you've seen it all, and I've seen your eye rolls.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, 'cause you can always tell what's really going on when you see the body language of the people behind the screen.
Yep, absolutely. I think, what doesn't change, and I think we need to continue to focus on, is we still need to practice being live and in person.
This is not by accident.
This is not by accident, and I think that's a little been taken for granted of like, well, yeah, I can just jump on Zoom and I'll do my thing, and like, and so we need to continue to prepare ourselves and really think, what am I saying? Mm-hmm. How is it going to be perceived? Who is my audience? And realize that we have, again, multiple audiences. So from, that storytelling, we are finding that we need to spend more time with our speakers, spend more time helping direct them as well from our creative side. We kind of have to lay out, here's our vision, here's how you're fitting into the vision as a part of that story, and then here's how we're going to proceed with that. And then the more that we can all engage together rather than just showing up and like, here, you hand us your presentation and we're going to do the thing.
Those days are over.
Like, the more we have to start being more proactive than reactive,
right.
And create that space for ourselves to do that.
As the producer, as an event producer, and of these events, what's the best way to prepare? Is it going through the entire presentation with somebody on a Zoom call, or is it like, what is the best way for panels to prepare, for example? I mean, we've done it. We've actually had these conversations,
right?
So people get a sense of what we're going to talk about. But you also have to keep the spontaneity.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
I think, a lot of preparing, right? And I think, if you're doing the panel, I think we had multiple panel conversations coming into, this week, and everybody preparing and understanding, again, what that storyline was, what we were really trying to, send out to all of our audiences this week. And then, obviously practice. Practice always makes perfect, right? But, I really want people to consider who they're presenting to so that they can get in real time feedback. I mean, have your kids, have your nieces, nephews, have the younger generation sit and listen to you and they go, huh?
Yeah.
Because
believe me.
Right? Like that's where you're gonna go, okay, let me maybe adjust that wording or, et cetera. Or in content wise, like what is, oh my gosh, is there, I think we've gotten better that we don't have these slides that are like full of all these bullet points and graphs and things. Like we've simplified that, but that's even taken a long time to practice through and get and executives to get us those ahead of time. And now we even need more lead time because again, we need to adjust to the fact that, it may look great in the room, but again, when you're on screen and it's, this big, what does it look like? And so we've needed more lead time, more practice time.
Yep.
And that may or may not happen.
Yeah.
It's true.
I mean, we're in the event industry, and so, I want to touch on something about the whole story concept. Mm-hmm. Again, going back to what I said earlier, I feel like the floodgates have opened. If you want to tell a story, you now have the opportunity to do it in a much different way. You can do your presenters in front of a green screen, right? We can drop them into a virtual world if we so desire. And so you just need to figure out what is the story you want to tell. I feel like when we were live, the story gets set up with your opening video. That sets the tone, right? Or your opening session. Pyrotechnics, dancers, what's going to happen this week? Oh my gosh, yeah, so good to be here, right? Well, now we're rethinking that. And it's like we can just open on a graphic, a quick little highlight or whatever. And again, whatever's going on with the speaker now is going to set the tone for what the story is you want to tell.
Right.
And so to make those cohesive virtually and here, I just think it's really exciting.
It's exciting. And the technology is catching up with us. So all these virtual platforms are also now going to have to be doing the same thing with a live and virtual audience. Mm-hmm. So they're going to be sort of the managers of a lot of this stuff. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. There is an interesting problem as a speaker, as a presenter, is that you're up here on stage and you're seeing the 700, 1,000 people in the audience.
Yeah.
You see the live audience here, but you don't know what anyone's really, the reaction is.
No.
So you're sitting there as a speaker not having any feedback whatsoever. And that has got to, you got to figure that out because you're sitting there sort of naked in front of the world and you don't even know what they think.
Yeah, well, I mean, prime example. I'll just throw out thanks to Chewy Deep for just saying, you know, they're on YouTube right now, and she's like, hey, I'm sitting here, I'm enjoying being in the virtual audience. She's like, she's sitting in Palm Springs for an event, and normally she wouldn't be able to be here, but, you know, she'd has to miss being in person, but now she's able to watch it in between meetings.
We just don't know what she's saying.
Right, but now we do, because, like,
you
know, we're getting fed that information.
Yeah.
But even that workflow has had to change from a production and a technical standpoint. Like, just shout out real quick to our InSync production team.
Oh, they've done
they're
an amazing job.
You know, like,
you should. I wish we could take everyone backstage and see what's involved. It's not just us three up here.
Well, you know, maybe we can make that happen. We can make that happen.
We can do a roaming.
No, I mean, we've got some options. ATA team, just, you know, work on that real quick. But, you know, it's just like, we're just going to produce right from the stage, right?
and produce at the same time.
You know, and we did talk about that. I was going to put a headset in. But, you know, I think, you know, but that's the point, right? It's like that has changed our workflows as well. How are we getting to see those interactions? And that's going to be this next step up for all of these platforms as well. So how do you feed that to the presenters, you know? And it's changed our workflow. You know, it's changed, you know, how we're doing things in real time.
But we also, it's much more important though, the writing is more important, all of the aspects of it. I would go present and the presentation would go up and no one would even talk to me about it till I got on stage.
Right.
And we can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
The other challenge that event organizers are going to have is not only do they have the live platform and the virtual platform, but they now have F&B and they have all these other things, which could be, for budgeting purposes, it changes everything too. How do you deal with the new world from a budgetary perspective because the cost of events are now going to go up because of all of the attention to detail?
Oh, I think that's going to be a big challenge. That's going to be a big challenge because, again, clients are going to have to choose, right? Do they want to invest more money on content or do they want to focus more on the contact, right? Like Erica said. And so you have to choose. Look, the Fortune 5, 10, 20 companies, this is not going to be a problem.
Yeah, that's not going to be a
problem. But for the smaller companies, they have to choose. And I really do believe they're going to be choosing content. I really do. I believe that for now.
So if I ask you this question,
for now.
I always ask the question, if you had on your car, in New York I didn't have a car, and I had a bumper sticker, and one was, contact is king or content is king. You're going to wear the content is king.
I'm going to say content is king, and the reason I'm going to say that is because if you look at everybody, they're on their phones constantly. They are absorbing so much content throughout the day that it's more natural for them to watch something on a screen now, which is slightly scary, but that is kind of the reality. And so we as event producers and content creators, we want to bring people back.
Right.
You know, we want that.
But okay, let me challenge you on that a little bit.
Yeah.
And I want what's your bumper sticker first?
I do also fall into the content side, and I'll let go. And then
I believe that it's a combination of both because the one thing that's going to make events more, well, you could put two bumper stickers. But the idea is though, the idea of the power of events is the contact, because you can get content almost anywhere today. So the fact that you and I are in the same place and we get to meet each other is going to be more valuable in the future.
But that's more of a party, David.
No, it's sitting next to each other.
You know what I mean?
I believe event organizers are collaboration artists to begin with.
They are.
And they have to orchestrate it consciously, how to get people to connect, how to get the girls to dance with the boys at the junior high school dance.
True.
And we need to be doing that as well. So it's a combination.
I can do that. I think there is also, you know, just that element. I'm glad, I like where you went there. You know, I think that gives me, I didn't know I could choose two bumper stickers.
I made the rules up.
But it's true.
I didn't tell you the
whole.
But
I think for us, that thread, though, has still been the content. It's still when we're getting together in person.
There's the reason to get
There's the reason. And I think what we're going to really see is a lot more meaningful, impactful, maybe more intimate to begin with. And we're, again, meeting where everybody's at and how we span to that, you know. Yeah, I think intentional is a great word.
Okay, intentional. You as an event producer, how do you get your client to be more purposeful? What questions do you ask to get to the nub of what they really want to do? Other than, let's just have an event. How do you get them to focus to make it so that what you're producing is purposeful and helpful to the people.
Yeah, and I think, to me that hasn't changed too much, but it's just
what's the question,
expanded
though?
how we
Yeah,
have,
you
right?
have to go dig deeper, right?
Yeah, we have to dig deeper. We have to realize we have to really have them nail down what their objectives are. Because I can't tell you how many times we were talking in our discoveries or, with our long-term clients, and they're like, we want to hit these 10 things. And I'm like, okay, there's probably 5, maybe 3 that are really important that we need to really focus on. So if we really, that's just again where it needs to go now. We just have to focus, what is the importance? Is it virtual? Is it the people who are in person? Is there a bridge that we are doing? And maybe those are your 3. And then we talk through, what's the content? Are they different audiences? Are they the same? Is there the bridge, and just how we go about that. And again, going back to your budget question, is how we're assessing that is, something we talked about on our budgeting panel yesterday is just, we got to be completely transparent. We have to build in contingencies. We need to, work through what these F&B components are. Michelle was talking earlier, with Caesars, that we have these supply chain issues. We just have to be upfront and real where everybody's at right now, and that's going to continue to help us push forward and grow. No more FOMO, no more markups. We need to
No more markups.
we
Okay.
need to
We
do
have-
that. That's a
we
whole
have-
conversation
because
for
I'm
another
with the-
day.
Because I'm with the producer,
Yes.
I have to so there's 20
All right.
seconds left.
All right.
And she'll kill me if I don't hit the mark. In 1 or 2 words, what's your feeling about the future? What do you think? Both of you.
1 or 2 words, future.
Optimistic, excited.
I'm stoked.
Opportunity.
Opportunity,
I can't stop
okay.
saying that word.
Last 3 seconds.
Impact. We're going to have a lot of impact.
Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We're going to bring up Kate next to chat with our power panel. So let's thank you guys for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. Hello, hello, welcome back. We are back on stage. We are talking about DMC panels for you destination management companies. And you guys, again, I'm Kate Pate. I have brought some dear friends of mine from the industry in Las Vegas to talk specifically about not only the region in Las Vegas, but working with DMCs in general, and really some best practices as we all move forward together. So I have the amazing Lauren Harwell, who is the general manager of Imprint Group Las Vegas, which is a very boutique style DMC company that has multiple locations. I have the wonderful Harvey Stern. He is president and CEO of DBD Vegas, which has a lot of, you have in-house types of decor and things. So a little bit different take than what Lauren provides. And then one of my oldest.
Oldest meaning we've known each other a long time.
That's it, friends. Joshua Jones, he is the president of Hosts Global. He has grown up in this industry, and when I think of DMCs, I think of you first. You were the first one I really worked with across the board. So I think we've brought together some really diverse perspectives and different types of DMCs that people work with so that we can answer some questions on that, give people some information about Las Vegas, and really things have changed so much for us that there's different ways to work together, and I want to delve into that and give people the tools of how to best work with each of you. So I'm going to start with you, Josh. Tell us a little bit about Host Global.
Let's see. Well, first, thank you for for having us. This is exciting to see people and be at a meeting with meeting professionals. A little bit about Host Global. We are a global consortium of destination management companies. We service well over 300 destinations globally. So, North America, South America, Europe, Asia, and really for us, it's about, an account management style, working with a client, giving them a solution anywhere across the world where they go, where they get some consistency. They kind of understand, we get to know that client and are able to really take their likes, their dislikes, their objectives, their values, and layer that everywhere they go, which, again, is a great value to the customer.
It is, which is a little different from how DVD operates. Can you tell us about that?
I sure can, and as Josh said, it's just exciting to be here, right? Everyone out and about again, and it's a great start to what's going to happen through the rest of the year and into 2022. But, destinations by design, destination management is in our name, in our DNA. We've been around for over 30 years now, and what we kind of look at is destination management is the landscape. When you come out, it's about transportation and services, activities, and things like that, and it's a big part of it. But along the way, there is the landmark, whether it's the hotel or the trade show or what we're here for. But what DVD loves to do is think about the trademark. There's a reason we come to any meeting, whether that's sales or incentive or education or just bringing people together. So kind of getting that mission of that reason through the trademark into the landmark through the landscape, I think is what we really try and do, and we have a lot of inventory to do that, a lot of creative people that help with that.
You do have a lot of inventory. Yes. I have seen that warehouse, and wow, every time I walk through, I'm like, ooh, it's fantastic. It grows every time. And Lauren, you have a handful. Yours is, like I said, a little more boutique-y. So what locations are you in specifically?
So we have locations here in fabulous Las Vegas. Welcome to our hometown. We are also in Denver and Vail, Aspen areas in Colorado, as well as in Orlando in Florida. So we're also supported by our fabulous network of DMCs across the country and across the world. So we have somebody everywhere for everyone.
Mm-hmm. And what DMCs do? I feel like we get that question a lot. Like, what exactly, why am I calling them? What is that for? I mean, Josh, you've had the most time in DMC, so do you want to kick us off with that?
Like you said, I actually feel the oldest as well. Yeah, I have spent my entire 20-plus year career in destination management. And I think, I guess to really sum it up, we are a local resource for clients. And as Harvey said, it's really providing incredible group experiences for those clients. Really it's soup to nuts in the types of services we provide, from designing of events to transportation logistics to entertainment and decor. It's part logistics, part creative, and all about creating a great experience that hits the objective for whatever the client's looking for. And it happens at different levels. Some clients need a little bit of everything. Some clients really want you to focus on one area. So it's driven by the client. But for us, I think, again, the most important thing is to really align with what the client, what's the story that they want their guests to tell, mm-hmm. and how do we then help weave that story, weave that thread through the entire program.
How soon in the planning process should someone call a DMC? Like, what in a perfect world?
In a perfect world, even prior to their meeting schedule, they know they're going to meet. And I think for us, where we can really show the most value is to be part of that upstream planning, to understand what those goals are, what those objectives are, when we can hear about, because again, as Harvey said, a lot of that, the property the client selects is very important, and for us, if we know that from the beginning, if we're able to be part of those conversations and at the table at the beginning, we can help design a program that feels very fluid, very connected throughout what that entire objective for why their meeting is. We also understand there's going to be those transactional things that just happen last minute, but where we're most effective and where we do the most meaningful work is when we're at the table early to talk with the stakeholders, all the stakeholders, about what's important to you, from invitation to extension, everywhere in between there is an important piece of the program. And if we can help, design a program around that keeps it very connected, that's where we thrive.
Oh, I love that. And it kind of leads into the piece about working with the venues. You have a unique perspective, Harvey, having come from the venue side, right, for having been there for such a period of time, and now stepping into the DMC side. It's like a dozen years ago when I crossed to the dark side and left the venues and branched out. And now you've done that with an amazing company. What's the best way really to work with the hotels and all of that?
Yeah, so and I think I'm the oldest because I'm doing this 37 years. So, and I just joined DVD within the last 3 months. So most of my 37 years has been on the hotel side and at the venue. But you know, hospitality is all about events and event management and creation. So you know, I think what Josh said is so important, and it's about partnership. It's about understanding what we can or can't do, and not to say no, but how can we achieve what you want, knowing what we know and getting that result that exceeds expectations. And that's what we did, when I was at Bellagio for just over 18 years, and what we're doing now at DVD, and what we all do. We all want to exceed expectations and create that partnership. And it's not just for 1 year. It's like your investment advisor. You don't work with him or her for a year and say, okay, I had a good run, 20% is great. It's years. So if you're coming back year over year, we have that repeat business because we're on the ground here, and we have so many partners that we work with that helps benefit the outcome and really create what you're looking for over time, and as the needs change, but the values and the mission remain the same.
Yes, and partnership, working with people, I automatically think of you, Lauren, because you are the connector. Moved to Las Vegas, how many years has it been now?
I've been here now 7 years.
And Lauren,
starting to blend together, so I'm not real sure.
Time has blended together. It hasn't made sense in the last year. If you guys say the other day to me, it could have been this morning or a year ago. I honestly don't know the difference. It's just how life is now. But you came from a very boutique side. You were with luxury properties first and then went to DMC. But that's how you've thrived. I mean, the network you've created here, the connection side, do you want to touch on that piece?
Sure. As my fun title is called, I'm the connector at Imprint. We like to give fun titles because it tells you a little bit about who we are as a team. And so mine is the connector because I love relationships. And I think that's why I have enjoyed so much about working here within this community, because we get to sit up amongst great partners. There's great partners in the audience. We get to source things that are amazing and build relationships with people that we become lifelong friends with. And there's something about that we get to bring to clients. And when we're talking about coming on in earlier times and working as a part of a team with our planners and our clients, that's just helpful because we're actually being able to brainstorm and bounce ideas off of and really create that creative process, which is so important when we're planning large events and meetings. But there's something special, I feel like, about Las Vegas. There's something special about representing this destination that I love so much because it is such a small community, because we do help each other. Within this last year, I think that's been the one kind of nugget and takeaway from us having to rebuild, is because we get to rebuild together. And that's just so important for us here in Vegas.
It is, and this is huge. I feel so special to be part of this panel sitting here. Not often do you have these global heads of DMCs like this that all come together, but I do see how Vegas has really banded together throughout all of this. And it is idea sharing. It is about collaboration. It's about us all lifting each other up together and bringing all of our meetings and events back. So there's some cool stuff happening out here. And obviously your DMCs, you have your finger on the pulse of all of it. So I'm going to put you each on the spot and kind of see, take the temperature of all of this. Harvey, how are you feeling about Vegas and what it looks like?
It's great. I mean, look at this. 700 people attended this conference, and everyone's excited. I think the energy has been great. So we're seeing it. Look, it's not going to be a straight up arrow. That's I think what we have to realize is that it's coming back. It's starting, but like anything else, we've seen after recessions, we've seen after terrorist activities what happens. This is totally different, and we don't have a playbook, so we really do rely on each other. I mean, we're competitors, but I can tell you, I can't wait for them to all succeed, because when any of us succeed, there's enough business for everybody. It just rises everyone and helps everyone. And Vegas is so resilient that it's going to be a while to get back to 20,000, but we'll start with 700. We'll start with 1,500, 2,000, 4,000. It's kind of like the Knights game. When I was going there, it was 2,000 people. You couldn't hear just about anyone screaming. Now, Game 5, it was, I think, 16,000, and the pulse is back. And that's what's going to happen in Vegas with meetings and events.
Yeah, I actually saw you at the opening night's game. I remember that now. That was a ton of fun, you guys. If you haven't been over to T-Mobile yet, amazing venue here in Las Vegas, as is Allegiant Stadium. We just toured that. There are some really cool spots. Josh, tell us about some of the awesome places out here.
Oh gosh, well, I think you touched on two of the incredible ones. Allegiant Stadium, is such a unique style venue for us to have in Las Vegas. We've not had, T-Mobile's obviously incredible as well, but having Allegiant Stadium as an opportunity to put together events, to do tours, to do a dinner in the Raiderettes locker room. Like, these are things that are new to us as Las Vegans, which is, you know, wonderful to plan. You know, I think Vegas probably has such a diverse set of, you know, incredible restaurants, nightclubs, indoor, outdoor spaces, which is something that's been very appealing to clients, is just that idea of there's enough space, right? There's still a lot of people that want more space than normal. There's people that certainly want a combination of indoor, outdoor space, and I think Vegas offers, you know, that's a very, you know, I think from a global perspective, or from a North American perspective, you know, I think we're seeing so many of our clients, that's an important piece of what they're looking for in a venue is outdoor space. So we're seeing a lot of movement in our, you know, Southern California offices, in places that you can spread out a little bit, you can breathe fresh air, and again, Vegas is certainly one of those places that offers. I mean, we've seen, you know, a lot of, and it's something that both Lauren and Harvey mentioned. It's, you know, the brainstorming, the creation of, like, working with partners to just think of events in an entire new way, you know, looking at a space, and in the past we've always kind of done it this way, and, you know, it might look a little different, feel a little different. Now it's, you know, there is no playbook. Let's start from scratch, and it's really got to be custom crafted for each client. You know, we were talking out in the hall before the session started just about, you know, the idea of, like, you have to be, you know, transparency is probably even more critical now from both sides, from a DMC perspective, from a client perspective, than ever before, to really understand, you know, what's important and ask those hard questions, because that's the way we're going to design an event that's effective for the client. And you know, there's no pulling it off the shelf. There's no, I mean, we've got to really dive in deep to determine what's really important to all of the stakeholders that are involved in this, to the attendees. I mean, you know, this attendee experience, we know we have some folks that are more comfortable than others, and, you know, you have to take into account, address, and respect the way everybody feels for any part of it, and design a program that gives everybody, you know, what they're looking for in that engagement, that they still feel very included, that you've designed a program that, you know, all of the audiences within that group feel comfortable, fulfilled, and went to a meaningful conference. Because for us, we want those people getting on a plane, sitting in a ballroom, you know, experiencing the wonderful city, and so we've got to design programs in a safe, comfortable way that allows those people to say, no problem, I'm ready to go.
That was like a sales pitch for BizBash, basically, because everything that they did and how thoughtful the whole team here from BizBash was when putting this all together. You can see I still have my blue bracelets on. The one signifies that I was vaccinated, so that I have the option whether or not I would like to wear a mask. The other blue bracelet, they have, you know, kind of like the stoplight, the red, yellow, green. So if you're open to hugs, awesome. It kind of communicates that out for you. Yellow is like, I'm happy to be here, maybe just some elbow bumps. And then you have the red ones that are like, I'm here, I'm happy to be here, be on site, but, you know, I'm still keeping my space a little. And I think we do have to embrace that and keep it inclusive, and just make sure that we're really respecting everyone's personal boundaries, how they feel, and making them feel comfortable. So I love that you touched on that piece too.
And Kate, I'm sorry, just to say also, I mean, where else would you have two major resorts opening coming out of COVID? Yeah. I mean, what a great sign to have, you know, two properties that are opening this month and last month, and it just shows the resiliency of Las Vegas. And I think that's what we're all excited about is, you know, resiliency leads to outcomes, and it's going to be great again. Yeah. I know why they say the Roaring 20s. I understand that now.
I'm ready for the Roaring 20s. I am going to Gatsby it up. Just give me the sign. I'm here. You guys have had some amazing facilities open. So I just toured recently for GMIT. I was in the West Hall of the Convention Center, which also has outdoor space. Great incredible. That they built that. Gosh, where else?
The Forum.
Yeah, the Forum is 100,000 square feet of outdoor space that you can use. I don't know if you guys caught that. We did a session with them this morning, yesterday. Our virtual audience had a lot of questions about supply chain and what that looked like. So they graciously jumped online. They streamed in this morning, answered some of our questions on that. So I like how we can blend this hybrid piece of all of it and make sure that virtual feels as connected. And you were talking outside about one of the new spaces, Area 15?
Yep, so I was just going through my head and thinking about all the new spaces that will come online this year, which is incredible when you think about what we just went through with COVID. And we're still going through with COVID, but now we're opening up all these great new spaces that we get to sell, which is probably one of the most fun things about being a DMC. But Area 15 is one of the most incredible places. It's a venue. It sits alone, and it sits pretty right near the Strip, just across the interstate. And it has all kinds of activities. You can literally go in there. I think you could go in there and spend days in there and not realize what time it is or how long you've been in there. But they have Meow Wolf, which is really amazing, coming to us out of Santa Fe. If anyone is big art lovers, it's really neat, interactive experience. Very experiential, touch, sight, smell, sounds. Choose your own adventure is what I like to call that venue. And then there's also axe throwing and golf simulation and a giant area for outdoor concerts and just really awesome places that you can kind of go and spend time. You can buy it all out, which is amazing, and you get all the activities as part of it, which is just really fun for groups to have that.
It is such an experience.
Yeah.
I could spend days there and never get bored of any of those whatsoever. Josh, you were touching a little bit on what people kind of call DMCs for. Do you want to give some in interview? Because I know there's been a couple questions that were asked online of really, what is your role within the industry? How do you bridge the gaps?
My personal role within the industry?
DMCs in general,
DMCs.
yours? Yes.
I mean, I think, again, we've touched on, I think it's designing of a program. And one of the most important things that I think, obviously we provide the creative side of putting together a program. You look at this wonderful Connect program, there's receptions, there's, offsite events, there's, lunches at the ballpark, there's, all of that, putting that together and designing a program that showcases the city, that meets the objectives and what the stories are, again, that we want the attendees to tell that are coming for the incentive or the sales meeting or the product launch. But also, I think a part that's really important, and probably now more than ever, that DMCs do is provide risk mitigation. And I think obviously through this pandemic, risk has become something that is going to have a spotlight on it for a long time. How do we make this, as less risk as possible for the company, for the attendees, for everybody, really? And I think that while that's always been something that hosts and really any great DMC has put a good eye on, now it's almost as equally as important as the designing of the program and the experiences that we create. It's, and that's something that, again, a DMC, that's how they partner with clients, I think, really well is, it's a combination of, shouldn't and can't just say yes to everything. It's, it's having a solution if yes isn't the answer, but, really partnering with the client to steer them down the best path, right? It's, and just again, I mean, whether that is, working with all of the right suppliers and doing all of that vetting. It's, it's making sure that insurance is up to speed and the right types of coverage. It's knowing a pulse on what's going on in the city and what construction's happening and, what all of those things are part of, managing risk for our customers, creating logistical plans that work, creating emergency preparedness plans that work, that are delivered to customers in case something does happen. All of those things allow our meeting planner friends and our clients to, focus on the bigger picture, knowing that we've got those things covered, we've thought of those things. The idea of part of, what's a good DMC is, having plan B, C, D, and also being able to, share with clients all of the what ifs, and here's the solution of those what ifs, and developing that in any sort of emergency preparedness plan.
You really are then the meeting planner's best friend. I mean,
we're boots on the ground, is
Yeah.
what I like to say.
Yeah.
It's great to be an in-destination DMC because as we've seen our ever-changing landscape, especially as we move forward out of COVID, it's hard to understand which destination is doing what. There's a little bit of different rules in every destination. There's a little bit of different feelings about how to be comfortable in every destination. And I think that's why it's so important to have us as your partners, is because we are really here living and breathing this every day. We know what regulations are going on. We can help you through that. We can help you make sure that your risk mitigation is on point. And just making sure that we can go into FaceTiming now, thanks to virtual. We can do sites on FaceTime. We can do virtual sites. We can take you through your program without actually having to step foot here in Las Vegas. We love you coming here to Las Vegas because we love doing in-person sites, but it's another option for everybody to be seen.
And business is back. You're heading right off to a site inspection
I
again
am.
as soon as
Yes.
running off this stage in a few minutes.
Sorry for as I'm like turning my microphone off and running away, but yes, it's coming back and we're all so grateful for it. We were talking about that out in the hallway too. It seems like it's been 0 to 120 in overnight. So, but we love it, and we're grateful because the more work we see, the more work we put to our partners as small businesses. we couldn't be more happy to see that and to see us really starting to come back as a city.
Well, and I love working with DMCs. I mean, you are the destination expert. No matter where we go, any city I go into, I make sure I find a DMC there, because how am I going to learn every single city that's out there?
Yeah.
It's not possible to have all of that information. So, I mean, you are the knowledge, the gatekeepers of the cities.
And the thing that goes on almost year round, it's not as you're getting prepared for your conference or your meeting, but we kind of check in, right, with our clients, say, here's what's happening, here's what we heard, here's what's new, because then they can use that information as they go forward in their planning. So I think, the timing is really constant, and the check-in is as important as the planning.
Yeah.
And like we all do, right? We all start post-conning right after it's over to plan for the next one.
Oh, gosh, yeah. I love the pre-con and post-con. I'm a big fan of all of that, the communication side. Like, let's figure out, get through it, and we figure out everything. How are we better next time for it? Let's have some real talk, you guys. How's this looking with the labor pool? How are we getting people back in?
We were talking about that outside. I mean, it's tough. It's not that easy to find the qualified labor. And you talk about the teams that we had before, and unfortunately, like all of us, we laid people off, and those people either found new jobs, left the city, or don't want to return to the level that it takes to do this business. And I think the reset of COVID, people realize a little bit about what industry we're in and how much it takes of your person, of your time. And a lot of them have found other things to do, which is great. You find that out now, but coming back, you got to almost be more intense and more agile and more dedicated, which is a lot to ask where we were back in 19 in the first 2.5 months of 20. So, it's tough. And you got to think about training and onboarding a bit more. But it's a real concern for us. We'll get over it, right? I mean, we'll work through it, but to not acknowledge that is going to happen initially so that we can come out better is something that's important.
Do you feel like meeting planners and everyone are giving you some grace with this as we're all kind of reconnecting and restarting?
Absolutely. Well, I should say the really great clients, of course. No, I think everyone obviously has more empathy and compassion and understanding, and that's where it goes back to just being transparent, and really setting realistic expectations. I completely agree with Harvey. I mean, it's like. We're also looking, I think, for a different type of coworker that we bring onto our companies. We're looking for those unicorns. We're looking for people that are comfortable being uncomfortable, that can stretch in different places. The idea of, hey, stay in your lane. Like, the lane got a lot bigger. So asking people to. I just think we're looking for different qualities. I was saying to Harvey outside, it's like I've had a lot of people, a lot of friends, a lot of everybody that's been in this industry that has been so greatly affected by this pandemic, and talking about what's their next career step. And so many of them said, I don't know, it's just hospitality is what I know. And to me, it's and I've said to them, like, it needs to be not what you know, it needs to be what you love to step back into this business and this world that we're in, with crazy hours and tight deadlines and stressful creation of things at times. It can't just be it's what I've always done. It needs to be it's what I still love to do to, I think, really be successful in this path forward and what the hospitality community looks like. It's just it's always, to me, I think the people that have stayed in it and been successful, that have been in the industry as long as my friends here, it's got to be. It's got to be in your blood. It's got to be, hospitality has to be completely in your DNA, and it's got to be your passion. It can't just be like your career. It's, you've got to be hospitable in nature, not just when you show up for your 10 or 18 hours of work some days. It's got to be, right. Every place you go, every person you see and touch and interact with, you've got to want to create a great experience. And, that's always the thing. People will walk away with a feeling of, one way or another, of saying like, hey, that person made me feel this way. Like, if you love this, that interaction should always be like, man, I love seeing Harvey. And I've always said that about Harvey. Like, I walk away from seeing Harvey and like, I just feel better after talking to Harvey. It's because he's got that hospitality in his blood.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. With events, meetings, like, it's in your blood or it's not. You're going to thrive in this. I love working with clients that when I see my phone ring, that's kind of how I gauge. If I'm working with the right people, my phone rings and I'm like, ooh, and I'm excited to answer it and say hi. If I start to see my phone ring and I'm like, ugh.
Yeah.
then I need to readdress who I'm potentially working with, because you want to love your clients. You want to have that same end vision, that goal, and you can achieve that. I know some people are like, yeah, I'm always going to feel that way. Well, no, you can market to that specific client and get them in the door and make sure that you're working with people that have that same vision and goal and mindset and almost like moral compass of where you want to be with things. And we're all pretty fortunate to get to work with some pretty outstanding clients like that. I mean, you're growing your team right now again too.
Yep. We are. We're just talking about that and talking about labor, and I think a lot of it is patience with each other. As an industry come back, we still have a little bit of a road to go. We're still looking at building teams, rebuilding teams, retraining teams. As they've said, we've had to lay off and furlough people that took other jobs. It's been over a year, so had to understand that our teams are now changing. But what an incredible opportunity it is, and I'm really excited to be able to build that team a little bit differently and to say, maybe we take people that aren't coming out of hospitality industry and we get to bring in different aspects and different ideas, and having people who may be coming from an IT world and who are working in virtual and who can help us really kind of add that extra oomph to our team. So I think as an industry, we'll see an incredible change. We're just have a little patience with us while we're getting there.
Well, and I like too, on the whole hiring process side, I've always really enjoyed looking outside of the industry and who you think that you want, because I feel that you can train anyone into the job. You can't train passion though. So I've always said, look for that right individual. I don't care what their background was, what they did. Even sometimes people have job hopped a little. To me, some people can say inconsistency, which it might absolutely be, but it might be they haven't found that right fit. So if someone's excited and enthusiastic and passionate for this, that's why I want to give a chance, like build my dream team and build them with the right habits. So, anyone else that's listening that you're like, maybe I want to be in events, check it out. See if it is right for you. I mean, we tend to have a pretty good time,
We like to have fun.
We get to have a little bit of fun in what we do.
What we do, just a little.
I mean, site inspections in Vegas, come on. That's one of my...
It's a fun business, right?
Yeah.
That's the great part. It's a fun business that we're all in, that we all do. We bring joy to the people that we plan for, and they bring joy to the people that attend if we do it right. And it's interesting. In my hotel years, I would always hire on attitude and passion, because you can teach the business. I mean, it's really not a tough business. You have the love to do it. Interesting on the destination side now, what I'm finding is there's so much creation. Creative people have a different brain set than might have had in the hotel side. So I'm trying to realign to that, because you can't teach CAD, you can't teach concepts, you can't teach creative. So it is a little bit different, I think, to be able to get that creative side for hospitality. So it's a bit of a unique challenge for me to understand that and work through that. And I just want to say real quick, when I left Bellagio until I started DBD, I had a 3-month window. And we were talking about this outside. I didn't realize how, I'll use the word damaged I was, because it was intense, right? I mean, the great years we had leading into 2019 and the first 2.5 months of 2020, and then we all thought we were out for 2 weeks. It became a year, and those who worked through it, those who didn't work through it, we were damaged, we were hurt. It took me a couple of months to unwind from that. And when I got my position at DBD, I said, okay, my first thought as a CEO, I think I'll give everyone 3 months off to find themselves. And my first decision as a CEO is to say no to that. So we have to kind of figure out how we get people to go from 150 miles an hour back down to 20 and kind of build back up in the right way. And that's going to be really the challenge of leadership in all our companies.
Well, you are all some fantastic leaders. I am thrilled to be sitting on a stage with you and respect all of your styles and what you have done and how you've continued to grow our industry and mentor the people that have come up through the industry. That's a real sign of leadership to me. So thank you all for joining us on that piece today. I'm looking forward to watching us rebuild all of this. Vegas kicks butt. I love coming here and having events with each and every one of you. So what's the one thing you're really, we're all looking forward to the Roaring 20s coming back. It might actually be my fault that ruined all of this last year. I had 2 birthday parties, one in January, one in February, and then everything closed. And I'm like, I think I went too hard. This could totally be my fault. Apologies if it was, but what are we looking forward to coming back? Let's end this on a positive note.
Me personally, the goosebumps. When you walk away from that event, or that moment happens during an event, or that client gives you that look, and you get goosebumps. I was we had 5 events operate last week, which was incredible. And we had a sound check, and it hit me as the band was sound checking. I did not realize how important that was and how much I missed that until I heard that, and I was like, and I had goosebumps. My hair stood up on my back of my neck, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is the first sound check I've heard in a year, and it just hit me and realized like I was throwing linens and listening, having a sound check, like those goosebump moments. That's what I can't wait for.
Oh, I love that.
I think for me, it's similar to that. When doors open, when guests arrive, and they get to experience that first moment, and people take their phones out and try and capture it, that's always been exciting to me, because we hit it, and that we reached them on whatever sensory level that it is. And so when we start seeing cameras come out and guests start arriving, and they just like, yes, we're here, we're loving it. That's the exciting.
Yes, and we're getting there.
Yes. I would say I'm super excited to be able to grow relationships again. To sit in a room and be able to sit down next to somebody at a coffee bar or at the bar, having a martini, and being able to say like, hey, where are you from? What do you do? How can we partner together? That's really exciting to be back to that level after, we've done so much virtual and it's worked so great, but now having that live in person way to rebuild relationships and meet strangers who become friends is one of my favorite things. So I'm really excited for that.
We're coming back to face-to-face. We can never replace that live component. So excited to be back. You guys, we were talking about live. David Adler brought that up a few minutes ago and wanting to make sure that we can thank people, the behind the scenes side of things. So I'm going to throw this over to, we're going to look at a little behind the scenes with the InSync production team and our very own from BizBash, Michaela Noviello. Take it away, girl.
Okay. I wanted to get a peek backstage, so let's see what's going on.
Thank you. If you want to hang for a minute, I'll be
Sorry, my camera's not flipping. Here we go. Say hello to our wonderful production team. It's a little dark, so we're going to take you guys back out. Back to you, Kate.
Awesome. I loved that panel. Thank you to all of my friends for joining us. Guys, I like seeing that behind the scenes look. For so many years, we've always operated behind darkness. We make it happen and people show up and have an amazing time. So I love that we're acknowledging and recognizing all that behind the scenes. Thank you to Akiri, all of the teams. Michaela, thanks for going back and showing what makes this all thrive for all of us. But now I feel like everyone's really been waiting for this part of it. I am so very excited. We are going to talk about 40 event ideas in 40 minutes. The amazing Ashton Pike is going to come up here, give us 40 ideas. She is going to inspire us. She is going to knock it out of the park. Please welcome the amazing Ashton to the stage.
If I haven't had the pleasure to meet you yet, my name is Ashton Pike. I'm the editorial director for BizBash and Connect. So essentially, I'm the one putting up all the content on the website and our print magazines that I hope you get a kick out of and enjoy. My goal is just to inspire you guys and to bring smart ideas back to your events. So that's what this session is all about. As Kate said, we're going to do 40 ideas in 40 minutes. We're going to see if I can talk fast enough to get through it all. But don't worry, I wanted to let you all know that there will be a QR code at the very end, and you'll be able to scan it, see all the ideas in a nice PDF. So don't feel like you have to constantly take pictures or everything. Just enjoy and sit back and relax. I feel like I'm putting on like a show. So first, we're going to start off with some activations and experiential marketing ideas. This is one of my favorite just sectors of the event industry. Brands get so creative, event professionals get so creative, and I love to talk about it. So first one I want to talk about is this cool event hosted or produced by MKG last month, and it was a fun way to support New York City's restaurant industry. And Seamless and the Infatuation teamed up with creative agency MKG to launch a COVID-safe restaurant on wheels called Presto Resto. During each week of April, the truck's interior was transformed into a different local restaurant, and which then traveled to contest winners' front doors around the city. To enter the contest, New Yorkers posted on Twitter and Instagram about what they missed most about dining out, and then 3 winners were chosen each and were invited to enjoy their seamless deliveries inside the truck with 3 guests. Next up, we have HBO Max, who hosted an event in September. It was a drive-in event and a simultaneous virtual gathering to premiere its new movie, Unpregnant. The drive-in portion of the hybrid event occurred in Glendale, California, and was produced by HBO Max with Little Cinema, who also produced the virtual event, as well as Joe Lewis Company and CH Creative. The physical gathering took a cue from the film's Road Trip, thank you, to a cue from the film's Road Trip, with event producers building out vehicle activations, including a neon desert scene, a drive-through photo op, and drive-through gas station. Set my water down so I don't drop it. I tend to drop things. And a convenience store offering a box dinner from Wolfgang Puck. For the live entertainment portion, DJ Yoda performed before the drive-in screening, as well as post-premiere for the virtual guests. For idea number 3, to promote its new line of products, hair care brand OGX tapped creative agency MKG and Bold PR to create a car wash-inspired drive-through product launch in Los Angeles. This one's so colorful, I love it. The one-day-only activation was a socially distanced, free-to-the-public car wash that centered around the hashtag #UncapTheLove campaign messaging, using the car wash as a metaphor for washing your hair. How clever. Signs featuring OGX's signature bottle shape made the event's purpose easily recognizable, and attendees stayed in their cars for the duration of the event, and technology such as QR codes allowed them to get more information about the new products while maintaining a safe distance from the staff. This is a cool concept that was dreamed up by GDX Studios. As the drive-through event format really picked up speed and popularity amid the pandemic, San Diego-based experiential agency GDX Studios devised this idea to give brands a safe, fun, interactive way to host immersive activations for fans and consumers. The idea is that cars travel through this experience. They'd encounter art installations, photo ops, branded signage and decor, retail displays, you name it, you can do it, with interactivity incorporated every step of the way by using attendees' personal smartphones for a series of text-based touch points. So first came the virtual premiere, right? You all got the emails, come see this new film premiere, TV show premiere, and it had jam-packed mailers and interactive experiences. Then entertainment brands began building out creative drive-in screenings that evolved into immersive drive-thrus. Now we have the vertical screening. For this premiere event in Los Angeles, Freeform worked with Gold Sky Productions to take over 80 rooms of the Beverly Hilton Hotel, with each room offering prime balcony views of a 70-foot wide screen on an adjoining rooftop. To ensure a safe experience, each room had a capacity restriction in accordance with the hotel regulations, and guests were guided through the hotel via a no-touch check-in procedure. A drone was even used to capture footage of the series stars from their own balconies and then broadcast the footage on the screen. So in addition to hosting the vertical screening, Freeform also worked with New York-based creative marketing agency BMF, and Brian Fite is actually here earlier this week talking on the BizBash stage, to promote the Cruel Summer series with a 1990s themed roller rink pop-up activation at the Westfield Century City in Los Angeles for 2 days last month. The socially distanced, free with reservation event featured a large black and white checkered rink and a playlist of tunes from 1993, 94, 95, the years the show was set, and arguably probably some of the best music we've ever seen. Corporate planners looking for creative brand marketing ideas can take a tip from the frozen beverage brand For Real, who created its own mobile game accessed only by purchasing one of the brand's shakes or smoothies in stores. Once you purchased it, consumers can download the game via an on-screen QR code that's revealed during the product blend cycle on For Real blenders at stores nationwide. Moving on to catering. So this has been a hot topic around the event community. How do we move forward with catering amid the COVID-19 era? So with summer event planning in full swing, many event organizers are wrestling with the idea of COVID-safe catering. Fortunately, more and more canned, ready-to-drink cocktails are entering the market every day, offering attendees a potentially safer way to socialize and socially distance without the need to crowd around a bar to order drinks. One ready-to-drink concept from Perfect that's perfect for events serving up a breakfast or a brunch menu comes from the Modern Mimosa. The canned mimosas are made with sustainably produced wine from Italy and organic California. The canned mimosas are made with bottles, and they serve 6. So they are made with sustainably produced wine from Italy. Don't you just love cue cards and you just mess it all up? But so 4 cans equals 1.25 bottles and serves 6. Plus, themed gift boxes are also available with accoutrements like candles, flowers, candy. So it does work for virtual events, for hybrid events or virtual attendees, but just note that they can't be shipped to states that restrict wine shipments. So in September, FX worked with experiential agency BMF to launch a creative and delicious promotion for the new season of Fargo. The team tapped 5 diverse chefs to reimagine their own versions of an American pie, a tie-in to the new season, which highlights immigrant families vying for a piece of the American dream. Each chef contributed recipes that symbolize their individual heritage and kits featuring 2 slices of pie. I would love to have pie delivered to my house, just saying. And branded accessories and recipe information were also mailed to the influencers, along with press and other VIPs. FX also created an online contest where fans could enter to win a kit for themselves. So though catering has certainly changed amid COVID-19, it's nothing that some sanitary plexiglass shields can't solve, right? In addition to prepackaged meals, event pros have already been playing around with these types of shields that ensure the guests are kept at a safe distance from both the staff and the food and beverage. And shown here is Washington, D.C.-based Perfect Settings. They have these sneeze and cough guards available for rent. And the shields come in 6 foot by 8 foot sizes to accommodate anything from buffet stations to bars. And also pictured is the company's handheld decontamination wands, which can be rented for cleaning services such as countertops, seats, bars, table, etc. So the good news in the world of catering is buffets aren't dead, and a lot of people thought they might be. But while event pros have been have to work with their caterers, get a little crafty, it's very much still possible to have a smooth, seamless, sanitary food and beverage station. Even menu items that were once a free-for-all can be altered to work in the COVID-19 era, such as these individual cheese boards from New York-based Elegant Affairs. Some tips for keeping your F&B station safe for guests include, make it individual, spread out the food stations, prepare pre-packaged snacks. You could even consider setting up a smart bar service that allows for DIY touchless bartending. And then design a buffet with safety measures in mind, of course, which could look like a deeper, wider table than usual to create a buffer between the guests and the food, and to present the food in the individual bento boxes or other unique vessels to eliminate cross-contamination. So we've seen a rise in popularity of these pouch drinks, maybe because they have a nostalgic element. They remind me of Capri Suns. I don't know about anybody else, but mostly because they're perfect for a time when F&B is moving briefly to be individually packaged. Shown here are mocktail pouches offered from Washington, D.C.-based Susan Gage caterers. Next up is event design and safety. So if you're planning events for any time soon, it's likely that some attendees will be vaccinated and some will not. And depending on your event and client, masks may or may not be required. So to avoid confusion, take a tip from Dell Technologies and clearly indicate with branded signage what areas at events require guests to wear masks. For this recent event, Dell worked with the PGA Tour and Lacey Maxwell Experiential. And event safety protocols included contactless entry, required mask zones, social distancing signage, and enhanced cleaning protocols. Additionally, spectator capacity was also reduced by 80%. So with hybrid events becoming the norm, many big brand hotel groups are shifting their event offerings to appeal to planners in search of a hybrid event venue. One of those hotel groups is Marriott. In recent months, the team has launched with their Connect with Confidence initiative that involves many partners the BizBash audience is more than familiar with, which includes Court, who provided the lovely furniture you're sitting in right now. Aren't these chairs so comfortable? And Clear and Meeting Play, which power the virtual side to the hybrid event. A major aspect of the program's event safety protocols included separating attendees into zones for each and every entrance, exit, or activation to control the flow of traffic and ultimately help avoid overcrowding in high traffic areas, specifically registration. Additionally, in-person attendees had the ability to select their own socially distanced sanctuary seat that offered each guest their own area for the duration of the event. So just because an event goes virtual or has a virtual component doesn't mean an elevated design strategy goes out the window. As we all know, event professionals love a good design. For the Rammy Awards Gala last September, a colorful set reflected the event's diversity-focused Colors of the Craft theme. Additionally, presenters and winners stood 6 feet apart, and multiple cameras were used to accommodate the extra space between speakers while avoiding awkward encounters. So a good example of a socially distanced floor plan was spotted at the Fairmont in Austin, Texas, for a live corporate internal meeting for Revance Therapeutics. The meeting was produced by The Green Room, based in San Diego, and featured 170 seating areas spaced 6 feet apart, with the seating area used during breaks for attendees to break off from the bigger group and socialize, but still safely in a smaller area. So last fall, I love this event, Sephora Canada worked with PR firm The Colony Product and producers Love by Lindsay Events and Design to create a socially distanced media preview and hybrid event. The team's solution was a colorful multi-room maze where media guests booked appointments to walk through a pop-up-like setting that featured rooms themed throughout the different areas of beauty. So in addition to product stations, photo ops, guests could even mail gift cards to friends through a Sephora post activation, or visit a live on-site artisan who created custom-themed earrings, and proceeds also went to key charity partners. The live event offered a number of safety protocols, including branded hand sanitizing stations, branded masks, and a health and safety team that regularly cleaned high-touch surfaces. But the key component was an appointment system that ensured there were only 2 people in each room for the majority of the day, as well as a one-way flow through the space to ensure that no one had to cross paths. So to celebrate the Latinx Heritage Month last fall, TikTok partnered with New York-based event production firm Eventique to create an inclusive, informative virtual space for the social media platform's Latinx creators. The event was called Familia Latina and featured a 3D environment of a home to emphasize the theme of the creators being a big family. Virtual guests gathered in a different area of the house, and such as the fire pit, kitchen, or pool, and on the platform, creators could connect with each other and learn insights and best practices from TikTok's employees, as well as catch a chat with George Lopez and watch a performance by Latina artist Becky G. So in the fall, Uber Freight, which is a division of ride-sharing company that connects drivers and shippers similarly the way they connect you with your driver. They worked with Santa Monica-based event production agency Moonlab Productions to develop a 2-day virtual experience that included the usual conference programming, along with a live streaming, a custom platform build, and augmented reality and virtual reality moments. The usual location of the internal meeting is the old post office building in Chicago. So Moonlab actually used 3D scan technology to capture images of the venue, plus a drone to capture overhead footage throughout downtown Chicago to recreate the look and feel of the physical space in a digital format. In January, Samsung held its series of annual Galaxy Unpacked events in an all-virtual setting for the first time. The live stream event was recorded in a studio near Seoul, South Korea, and to recent event production practices in the US. The production process involved rigorous health and safety protocols such as daily health surveys, 2 temperature checks in order to enter the facility, etc. Samsung also brought back its well-known 3D symbol, which served as a backdrop for the presentations. The team noted to BizBash that by shifting to virtual, that they were actually able to create a smoother transition and visual effects between product discussions. So while there is a big discussion in the industry right now of virtual versus hybrid versus live, virtual does have a lot of benefits to its platform. In March, beauty brand Bare Minerals hosted its virtual villa event that featured Bare Minerals Clean Beauty Ambassador Hailey Bieber, also known as Justin Bieber's wife, who guided consumers through the experience, sharing her favorite products, which visitors were then able to purchase in real time. New York-based Eventique built out the event's virtual environment and filmed Hailey on a full-body green screen, so it appeared as if she was really in the house. And believe it or not, these 2 women pictured here were filmed in 2 separate locations, but the magic of virtual made it seem like they were sitting together for the whole live stream. So when it comes to film festivals post-COVID, Atlanta Jewish Film Festival set a pretty good example earlier this year with its hybrid event that featured more than 39,000 attendees, 38 feature films, and 16 short films. It also included a mixture of virtual Q&As, drive-in screenings, VIP mailers, a broadcast quality award show, and interactive conversations, all across 12 days of virtual and in-person experiences. For in-person attendees, AJFF's event organizers hosted a series of drive-in events at Atlanta's Mercedes-Benz Stadium, and while at-home attendees were able to interact with virtual screenings. For an extra level of engagement, the festival included a virtual lobby where attendees could connect with one another for lunchtime conversations over Zoom. Pictured here, the festival's opening and closing night galas, as well as its award show, took a more broadcast-inspired approach, where hosts and presenters were filmed on stage while winners accepted the awards from home. So for live events that do require at least staff to wear masks, there's nothing saying that event pros can't make it a styled moment. Spotted at a pop-up graduation event in Los Angeles produced by Sterling Engagements, these masks were worn by entertainers actually became part of their ensemble, expertly blending it in with their attire as to not draw so much attention to the mask, which can be an eyesore at times. So now let's take a look at some ideas for entertainment and networking. When the pandemic first hit, many leaders were taking the virtual team building activities to keep company morale high, but a year later, event organizers have stepped it up quite a few notches to create more than just a team building event, but a whole virtual experience. An example I have here is from Toronto-based TK Events, who recently hosted its own internal virtual team building event, but it was complete with a mixology workshop, networking features, and even an escape room. The team purposefully selected February for the event to serve as a bright spot during a winter of strict lockdowns for the company's Canadian and UK-based teams. Highlights included a mixology workshop for which employees, even those overseas, were mailed a physical bar kit with ingredients and snacks from local Toronto vendors. And there was also a virtual escape room challenge from the escape game where 30 employees were placed in groups of 5. So speaking of taking events to the next level, event pros that are new to virtual events have gone from producing one-day conferences to multi-day over-the-top programs, much like this 3-day virtual cruise for 1Password's internal team that was designed and produced by Big HQ in Canada. The event welcomed more than 400 attendees from over 20 countries and had a key focus on attendee engagement via interactive entertainment to break up education sessions and keynote speakers. But one unique entertainment activity was a corporate take on the show America's Got Talent, cleverly called, of course, 1Password's Got Talent. The activity was a pre-produced 45-minute show that included videos of at-home attendees showcasing their best talents for the judges. So if you're looking for an interactive virtual entertainment activity that isn't game-focused, Zoom and Bloom, which is created by Our Merit Productions, allows organizers to select the flowers and vase for the virtual workshop. Before the event, participants receive easy-to-follow instructions on how to properly prep the flowers for the live virtual workshop, and participants are sent enough flowers for one large arrangement and a few bud vases, plus the tools to create the arrangements. The activity takes 45 to 60 minutes, including a Q&A session, and can accommodate a group of minimum 20 people. For the premiere of The Alienist last summer, TNT worked with California-based creative studio Little Cinema to create a 3-act virtual murder mystery party. Attendees took on the role of investigative journalists from the New York Times, and using Little Cinema's custom online platform, they traveled through various rooms, interacting with costumed actors who each played a suspect. Guests could use the chat function to ask questions in real time in an effort to crack the case, and they could vote who the real killer was at the end of the 3rd act. To add another immersive element to the virtual event, VIP guests were mailed a custom swag box filled with clues, including a branded journal to track their findings and photo cards for each of the suspects. While event pros have seemed to master, or are slowly mastering, a successful hybrid event, that's top of mind right now is how to engage the in-person audience with the virtual audience for networking opportunities. For a recent hybrid event hosted by Abir Akadiri, an independent leadership strategist out of the Netherlands, 50 guests attended in person and nearly 200 attending virtually. For networking, she utilized an on-site room where in-person attendees could log into the virtual platform for a face-to-face video chat with a virtual attendee. Additionally, during discussions, a large screen allowed in-person attendees to see what the virtual attendees were writing in the chat. So this year's Sundance Film Festival went hybrid, with mostly virtual programming in addition to 20+ local venues across the U.S. hosting in-person screenings. The event is generally a network-heavy occasion for filmmakers, so to mimic the IRL experience, the festival's event organizers set up a place within the festival custom-designed platform powered by Shift 72. The virtual gathering area called Film Party and was produced by digital production studio Active Theory. The space also featured tools such as proximity and audio and video chat integration so attendees could easily strike up a conversation with fellow filmmakers. And this is just one of the many examples of how networking opportunities are in fact capable of being natural and organic in a hybrid setting. Moving on to event tech, and this is one of the biggest topics right now in the industry. As Erica said it earlier, numerous platforms and apps are popping up left and right throughout the year to help make your jobs a lot easier. So while mask mandates begin to lift across different markets, many organizers are still having to adhere to social distancing guidelines, depending on their venue and location. To help map out what a socially distanced floor plan will look like in any venue, All Seated launched a physical distancing tool that allows planners to easily measure seating distances, space out sanitary stations, etc., and can quickly be adjusted based on country, state, or local government regulations. Additionally, one aspect, unfortunately, of the return to live events that no one is looking forward to is having to police guests that aren't following the event's health and safety protocols. To help with policing and ensuring guests are keeping a safe distance from each other while we're still in the early stages of reopening live events, technology company Proxy developed Contact, a wearable Bluetooth-driven wristband that briefly vibrates when it comes within 6 feet of another band. As an added bonus, the wristband records all physical interactions with other bands, making it a useful tool should contact tracing become necessary at an event. So a level of virtual that some event pros have been experimenting with is extended reality, or XR for short, which has the ability to have a more realistic look and feel to it for virtual and hybrid experiences. For South by Southwest's first virtual edition in March, the organizers tapped AI-powered event and matchmaking platform SwapCard to create South by Southwest Online XR, which was essentially a virtual reality recreation of the Austin streets that typically host the festival. Powered by VR chat and designed by Vroom, the space allowed attendees to walk the streets and visit various venues for events and panels. The technology was only available to participants with compatible desktop PCs, Oculus Quest, or PC VR headsets. At this point, especially if you've traveled to get here, you're likely familiar with Clear technology being largely used at airports. But Clear's Health Pass technology can also help event organizers determine which guests are able to attend an event in person, thanks to the software's ability to integrate lab results from COVID-19 testing at over 30,000 labs, link the personal healthcare account in order to confirm your COVID-19 vaccine records, and offer a real-time health survey to screen for possible COVID-19 symptoms. Health Pass profiles can be configured with Clear's touchless temperature check technology via an easy-to-use QR code for quick, easy screening at registration areas for in-person events to also ensure that lines and crowds don't build up at registration. The use of robots at live events is another event tech trend on the rise and amid COVID-19. UB Tech Robotics, for example, which develops intelligent humanoid robotics and AI technologies, has debuted the new Abadot UVC disinfecting robots that are designed to help businesses, schools, and events especially reopen safely. The bots use UVC technology to disinfect targeted surfaces and air, and they're available in stationary and autonomous models. So with inclusivity continuing to rise as a hot topic among event pros, nonprofit Accessible Festivals has been working to ensure that no one has FOMO, with the mission to make events more accessible and inclusive to those with disabilities. The nonprofit offers adaptive and assistive technology so that live entertainment events can include those with visual, auditory, cognitive, physical, or sensory sensitivities. For its Inclusion Dining and Jams hybrid event recently that took place last month, Accessible Festivals consulted with American Sign Language interpreters to be on site, as well as nonprofit Mind's Eye to incorporate audio descriptions throughout the event to make it more accessible. Moving on to gifting, this is the final few ideas on the list. So a gift box idea snagged from HBO Max's virtual premiere of Love Life last spring, Warner Media delivered these physical care packages to VIP attendees. The engagement-forward boxes featured everything needed for not only the perfect date night at home, but also everything to get attendees interacting with the virtual event, including a 3-course meal from local businesses, with some based in New York and then some based in Los Angeles to cater to attendees across the nation, plus a bottle of wine and a make-your-own Manhattan cocktail kit that coincided with a cocktail-making workshop during the event. The delivery was also included branded wine glasses, candles, an on-theme game, and even a handheld microphone to use during the after-party's themed live stream karaoke. So these travel safety kits from Pennsylvania-based Gifts for the Good Life are a great initial gift as an attendees flying in to attend your event in person. The kits come with the usual necessities like a portable charger and gum, plus a few nice-to-haves like hand sanitizer, Lysol surface spray, and even a travel tea for 10 when the caffeine need hits. So also from Gifts for the Good Life is this gift box that was sent out to VIP attendees partaking in a virtual conference hosted by author Rachel Hollis and the Hollis Co. The boxes were designed to encourage interaction and attendee excitement and were filled with branded swag that complemented the day of programming, such as a tumbler that doubled as a can koozie, a pack of 5 custom pencils, 4 custom buttons, a set of courage cards, and a journal, and an out-of-the-box, a big heart tea. 5 months into the pandemic, after numerous event goers had experienced their fair share of virtual events, the Not Used surprise packages as an incentive for the first 100 registrants to its 4-day Wedding Pro Core event back in October. Event organizers also hosted a gift card giveaway each day of the event to encourage attendees to return back to the virtual event each day. Additionally, organizers took party favors to a new digital level with a digital swag bag that included graphics for all guests to use on their personal social media platforms. And lastly, I really have been talking fast, but like I said, there is a QR code at the end so you can review everything. A must for virtual presenters at a hybrid or all online events is the Ultimate Virtual Meeting Kit from Gift Suite. This kit includes a wide-angle lens with a universal adapter so it easily attaches to a speaker's monitor, laptop, tablet, or phone, plus a sleek desktop tripod that doubles as a Bluetooth selfie stick, so presenters or even attendees can go hands-free if joining an event from their phone. And the kit also includes a lighting charger cable and screen cleaning towelettes. Phew. I'm definitely gonna need that water after this presentation. But we made it through, and we even have time for a couple of questions if there are any from our virtual or in-person audience. Yes.
Are you finding that events are having to increase their budgets to accommodate these live, virtual, hybrid events if they choose to, do both, like a hybrid event? Are you seeing that budgets are now increasing?
Yes, absolutely. We actually recently did an article, I think it was this week or last week, where one of our great freelancers, Michelle Loffick, spoke with multiple event professionals, talking to them how are they doing their budgets. At this point, especially if you want to do a hybrid event, I remember when virtual came in, a lot of event professionals were like, oh, it's cheaper, it's quote unquote easier, it's simpler because it's all online, but then quickly found out that is not the case at all. It's not always cheaper, and especially if you want a quality production that engages attendees. It's not cheap. Especially with live events, you now have to, incorporate for event safety. All the signage, extra signage to encourage guests to remove crowding, any technology, any event tech you include in your event. So to answer your question, I have been seeing and talking to event professionals throughout US and Canada that they are having to increase their budgets. However, many are also saying that they're finding other areas where they're cutting. So, for example, catering is moving to prepackaged meals. Sometimes when you buy in bulk, things can be a little less expensive. So where some areas had to come down, other areas had to come up. So we're either seeing an increase or kind of a break even. So it really just depends what your event looks like, how engaging it is, how you're merging, if you do have a hybrid event, how you're merging the two audiences. That can really be a costly factor. But I would also argue that it's an important factor, especially if you have a virtual audience, to get them engaged, get them, reacting with your brand and really included so they don't just leave the event and say, oh, that was a good event, and they never think of it again. You want them to leave, really having had that experience. And you all sitting in this room are experienced creators. And, you never want someone to leave your event and just say, oh yeah, that was pretty good. You want them to feel like inspired and encouraged. So my personal opinion, if that, breaks up the budget a little bit, for some companies that works. For right now, currently, as a lot of event professionals are getting back to work, many were furloughed and unfortunately lost their jobs and are just having to restart from scratch. I would say to those event professionals, if any are here in this room or watching online, that don't break your budget. And just because you can't get back to where you were even 2 years ago doesn't mean you won't get there. So, take it slow. Your audience will grow with you and build with you.
Mm-hmm. Which then you find that these meeting venues do you think they're making an effort to absorb some of that so that people can still bring their meetings to these spaces? Right. Or are the event organizers really just going to have to figure out how to raise their budgets to accommodate?
That's a really good question. And we've talked to a few venues, a lot of hospitality groups, and from the people we've chatted with, especially hotels who were unfortunately out of business for a lot during COVID, they just want us back. They want these rooms filled. And while we do have to, double in size, we have, this room today could probably have 2 times the chairs, 3 years ago or even a year ago. And now it's not so much the case. So we have to double the space. We've taken over this entire floor of the Red Rock when maybe in years past that wouldn't necessarily be the case. I have found some venues to be very forgiving, and in the sense of they're just like, we're in this together, And so I think that it comes down to when you're talking to your venues and you're building out those contracts, I would kind of hardball them a little bit, because as much as, we were hurting in the past year in live events, so were they. And so my hope and what I've been seeing and talking to people is they just want us back, and they're definitely willing to negotiate pricing, especially when we're not using the space as long. For live streamed events that aren't a 3-day conference and you're just taking up this small space in a room, like where we have our virtual event back here going on, a venue is definitely not going to charge you for the whole ballroom, or at least the ones we've talked to. And so, my hope is that as you're talking to your venues, I encourage you to just push back on them a little bit and really get nitty gritty into the contracts, because we don't want them taking advantage of us. And I would hope that they just are excited to have us back. So for the venues we talked to answer your question, they are willing to negotiate prices lower because they just want people back in the room and they just want to fill the space again. Yes. Yeah. Oh, thank you. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. That's an excellent question, and that actually came up when we were doing an article probably about 6 months ago or 8 months ago, as virtual events really start to take off. After the summer, we had a moment to decompress after what happened, and we moved into the next step. But I would say that it depends on how engaging your virtual experience is. For example, granted, we do have a high engagement. We work with an amazing production team, Akiri Productions, and they footed the bill for our virtual audience. If you have, those contacts, those relationships, and those partners, a lot of times, or possibly, they'll foot the bill for you. And so your virtual attendees can have that experience. I will say, just from my end of talking to event professionals and venues and attendees, they have a hard time justifying the cost, because coming in for this 3-day conference, it's of course that cost makes sense. I'm getting food, I'm getting this, and I'm getting that. I get to go to Las Vegas. And I think it's just a matter of the event industry still educating our audience that we can provide them equally as an incredible experience through a computer online. You can send them swag bags. You can send them food right to their door. Erica mentioned it earlier in her No Mo FOMO session that just because they're missing out on in-person interaction doesn't mean they have to miss out on everything. And so, to that point, I would say the more engaging you make your virtual experience, I think the cost justifies itself. Additionally, it's a hard line to walk in terms of, being understanding of your attendees, but we also have to get back to business. Y'all have businesses to grow again, and money does that. So, to that, I would just say, study your audience. Who is your audience? Can they afford this? And also be unapologetic. If you're offering an incredible experience online or hybrid or in person, be unapologetic about that. And the people that really want to show up and be there will come. And so we actually have a virtual question. It says, when experience designing hybrid events, what is best to consider when merging both elements of virtual and in person? That's a great question. Right now, we're seeing event planners asking questions of networking. How do we get the two audiences interacting? At this point, I think I've seen, event planners master the virtual sphere. Y'all have survived and y'all have thrived in that area. And whether you were doing it before or you just learned it, y'all are just making waves in that area. And now, once we've mastered the virtual element, y'all know how to do an in-person element, now it's just a matter of getting the two to connect and interact. Because one of the biggest things about going to events, especially in a corporate setting, is networking. And so they want to know, how can I talk to the in-person attendees? How can I really be there? And going back to the No Mo FOMO, it just has so much relevance here, is just making sure that, just because they're missing out on that in-person direct, I can talk to you from the stage, doesn't mean that I can't talk to them virtually, And so to whoever asked that question virtually, I would say focus on networking. Get your audiences interacting and, have fun with it and be clever. There's tons of event technology apps, like networking apps that you can utilize, rooms, breakout sessions you can set up, and just ways to get the two audiences having fun together without it being a one-on-one appointment that's just very formal and kind of stiff with Zoom. All right, we have no more questions from our virtual audience, and we have time for one more if you do have one from the in-person audience. And if not, I will bring back up the fabulous Kate Pate on stage, and I'll go to, we'll bring up the slides next for the QR code. There it is. So if you want even more inspiration, ideas, resources, a lot of the questions you asked today, we actually answer on our website with all of our great content. I say great content, I know I'm biased, but I encourage you to subscribe to our BizBash Buzz newsletter. It deploys on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, filled with tons of ideas, and like not just ideas, but what's happening in the industry and what's next in the industry. And you can also follow us on social media with @BizBash. You can scan this QR code and it'll take you right to the BizBash Buzz newsletter. And as I promised, you can download the full presentation for keeps here. And we're just really happy that you guys joined us at BizBash at Connect Las Vegas.
And I love the newsletter. I do follow it every single week. She knows this.
Thank you, darling.
And I'm pretty sure that she went 5 minutes under on this because we made a bet yesterday. I didn't think she could do 40 slides in 40 minutes, you guys. I truly didn't.
They didn't know how fast I could talk.
Yeah, she nailed it. So yes, your drink is waiting for you as soon as I finish. I love that. Guys, we're gonna stay up here together. We're gonna thank the sponsors for all of this. They did such a great job, you guys. Acuri that brought everyone virtual that's signing in right now with Red Tail Creative. InventU and Search Foundation being a piece of this. InventU and back. Latoya, thank you for everything you do and for helping to bring this pipeline of profession. Ilea, we have Dana here with us still for it. InSync Productions behind the scenes. Court Events that did all of this. And Lillian, thank you for my gorgeous, gorgeous setting. I loved it. Red Rock, Atomic for these backdrops. Innovative Entertainment. Eclipse 42 Chat, Gift Suite. You guys, I have something from Gift Suite. I think I might go do a live a little bit later and unbox that bad boy because I have heard it's fantastic. I'm excited for it. The Uber Battle, Quiet Events. This is what we've been talking about when we were in the room. The headphones that everyone's been using for our virtual audience to see, they knocked it out of the park to make sure that we could all be part of this. Lombardo's and Low Country Cuisine that zoomed in, and Caesars that came in this morning to help answer our questions. Fit Give Movement, Megan, you're awesome. The Mystery Trip, Groove Boston, Bobby, that was so fantastic at lunch yesterday. I know a ton of us actually stayed in the room for lunch because he was so engaging. And Imprint Events, who was with us today and helped with some of the behind the scenes from DMC Network. So fantastic, but you guys, BizBash knocked it out of the park. We are so excited. One, I love reading the newsletter. I do all the time. She knows it because I respond to it. I'm one of those weirdos that replies to things, even if it's not directed towards me. But BizBash is knocking it out of the park. They're making sure you all feel connected in person, that you all feel connected online and digitally. And Tampa is going to be incredible. If it's not on your calendars, that's August 30th to September 1st. And to bring the industry back together. Talk about a real partnership. The fact that you're doing this price point right now just to help bring people that were affected in the last year back together to figure out what we do in the future. We're going to reconnect and reimagine events. $249 for event planners to attend in person. Go to BizBash right now. Make sure that you sign up. There will be a virtual component that we'll be announcing, but to be on site in Tampa, this is going to be the event of the year. You won't want to miss that one. Everyone that's here that's with us today, thank you for helping to be part of the solution to bring the event industry back, to restart events for us overall. Please come to Tampa as well. Join us there. This is going to be the future of the industry. We are setting the new standard. We are moving forward together. Thank you for having us. Thank you for joining.